What's up, guys? Fernando Mendoza. I'm excited to get this thing signed. Excited to be a part of this Silver and Black. Can't wait. Appreciate you guys all support. Let's get this thing rolling.
There's things that go along with being the starting quarterback of a franchise, especially as a number one overall pick. A lot has to happen for Fernando Mendoza in terms of getting up to speed, understanding how to take snaps from center, which he's already doing. But there's a level of experience that comes along with the quarterback position that tells me that he may not be ready right away or week one, but I feel like there will be a point during the season that he will take over as a starting quarterback.
It's Unnecessary Roughness. Presented by Meineke, doing car care right. Here's your boy Q.
And here we go, Raider Nation. Coming to you live from the Lotus Broadcasting Studios.
Look out.
It's nice to be in here with Ari every once in a while, making sure that Ari's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Yeah, you get a little territorial at times, man. So I gotta surprise you once in a while. Surprise.
I'm surprised. I'm ready.
So
I'm on my toes.
There you go. Now we're going to have a big show lined up for you today. Real excited about the opportunity, as we always are, to be with you 2 to 5 p.m. right here, RaiderNation Radio 920, Unnecessary Roughness. We come into the sounds of Kirk Morrison talking about Fernando Mendoza, and there's a lot of conversation about Fernando Mendoza as the rookies reported to training camp today, including Max Crosby. I saw a tweet from him early this morning, and he was already 3 hours in. Right? It was basically, let's go, and I want to say it was around 3 o'clock in the morning. He's been so fired up. He's been so excited to get back out there and get to work. And so that's something to get excited about just in general when you think about the direction of this team and everything that happened this offseason and the way that it's ran pretty smoothly. And then all of a sudden your star, your guy who's coming back off injury is ready to rock and roll and be out there with the rookies when the veterans report next week. And then, of course, we'll be out there. You know, I wanted to come check out this studio before. There's no studio at all, right? It's all out there on the concrete, right? Out there at the Intermountain Health Performance Center. It's going to be a lot of fun. You'll get some shows from the morning tailgate. They'll be actually live at training camp. JT will do some shows from the podcast studio there at Raiders HQ, and then I'll come to you live from Studio Q just because, well, you know, by the time practice is over and talking to players and coaches, it'll be time for the show. So we got one more weekend. One more weekend of whatever you got to do. You know, you want to take the family out. You want to take one more quick trip, whatever that is. Maybe take off early on Friday. Enjoy your Saturday and Sunday because once next week happens, boom, hit the ground running. And we are here for it, excited about it. Been doing radio hits all over. Was on ESPN Central Texas earlier today. I'll be on Sacramento with D-Lo and KC later on. Everyone is fired up. Everyone is fired up about the start of training camp. Everyone's fired up about Fernando Mendoza. And there's a lot of high expectations, kind of cautiously optimistic, but expectations that this team is going to look a lot better and a lot different than what we've seen in prior years, which is, of course, what they have to do, but in a positive way. The direction of this team, as we've talked and we've waxed poetically all offseason long, the direction just feels right. It feels different. Feels like they're doing the things that they're supposed to be doing to set this team up, not for short-term success, but long-term success. And that's what everyone, and I mean everyone, is fired up to talk about. So yeah, man, I'm ready. I'm ready for it to be go time. I mentioned that I was over at Channel 13 yesterday, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. TV, radio, don't matter what it is, right? Anyone who wants to talk, let's do it. I'm here for it. So lining some things up for this weekend as well. It's just, to me, man, it's that time where you just get in rare form and you get locked in and go. So that's what we're doing here on Unnecessary Roughness, RaiderNation Radio 920. Speaking of go, Vinny Bonsignore, he's a go from the California Post, and, of course, the Morning Tailgate here on RaiderNation Radio 920 will join us at 2:30 as he normally does each and every Thursday, and this will be the first Thursday that he joins us, and Fernando Mendoza is actually under contract. So I want to get Vinny's thoughts. It was never a question of if he was going to get under contract. It was a question of when. And when was this morning. That happened this morning shortly after Jamad McCoy got signed yesterday. You kind of knew that the wheels were turning. It was going to happen sooner rather than later, and it did. The Raiders made it official, and so no worries. Right? It was so funny, Ari. I don't know if you caught wind of it, but or been following along on social media on the podcast. You know, when I came back from vacation, I said I was surprised that Fernando's contract wasn't done. I thought it was going to be done while I was gone on vacation. Then I was going to come back and, hey, nothing to see here. So I was kind of surprised. But we had Joel Corey on the show from CBS Sports, former sports agent. We had him on the show, and he said, hey, nothing to see here. It's just about the signing bonus. It's just getting paid in one lump sum, or if they're going to pay in installments like the Raiders normally do. So I never panicked about it. I never worried about it. So on the podcast, I said, if training camp comes and Fernando Mendoza is not under contract, like my late great-grandmother would say, I kiss a duck. So I don't know if you've been following me on social media at your boy Q254, but I can't tell you how many ducks came my way this morning.
Actually, I did see one. I had no idea. I just thought maybe it's
That's
from the
why.
other show, and I can't keep up with all the bits and stuff, so I just kept it pushing and laughed.
That's
But,
why.
That's funny.
Doc,
Yes.
I had.
You made it.
I mean, so many people hit me up with, like one person hit, what the duck?
That's good. Yeah.
Right? I mean, there were so
Tough
many people
down.
that hit me. Yeah. Man, look, my grandmother would be so proud right now. She'd be like, my baby took my line and made it important.
That's great.
Yeah, Granny, we did it. Granny, we made it. So,
awesome.
yeah, it's so funny because I can't tell you. I can go through my social media right now, and I can tell you everyone that hit me, but it was a lot. I mean, I had DMs. Well, I guess you ain't got to kiss that duck. I had one guy say, I was about to bring Q a duck. Like, I mean, that is too funny. Like, let's see, my guy who said, Matt, he said, guess you aren't kissing that duck after all. I mean, that was a direct message. Like, how funny is that?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, man. I was. Let's see. Nick hit his lucky duck. Lucky duck, not lucky me. Lucky duck.
Q Duck. I feel like, yeah, you got real close there.
Yeah.
You just
On
made it.
Twitter, Clayball, no ducking way. He was the one that said that. Let's see. And then what's this one? Just win, baby, 89. I'm glad you don't have to kiss a duck. Just win, baby. And got the little emoji. Our good friend Mike sent the emoji of a duck walking down the street. Brandon had a duck backing in like the Homer Simpson.
Oh, that's great.
But this one's a duck, yeah. So, I mean, I'm telling you, L.A. Raider did the same thing. Like, I ain't making this stuff up. Toke said, you got lucky. No kissing ducks this week. Nada said, no duck kiss for you. So, yeah,
That's hilarious.
It's hilarious. The real Kells, man, I was personally
puns.
going to send Q a text, send him a duck. You made it this time. Like, how funny is that?
That's great. The puns are out.
Oh my
Love it.
gosh! Oh my gosh! So
Sun's
yeah,
out, puns
but I didn't even. I mean, you say something like that, and you just say it in passing. You don't think that anyone's going to really remember it,
they're
right?
listening. Well, you know it. I actually, when I saw it, and like I said, I kind of just kept it pushing. It was late, whatever. But
Right.
I immediately actually thought a little homie because ducks and turtles. You know, like,
yeah.
It's the same. Yeah, people are listening. They are locked in. So I
Shout
love
out
that.
to little homie, man.
Sometimes better than me, by the way.
Little homie never hung around long enough to see the Raiders turn things around. Little homie was down for the bad days.
Maybe he's got a little homie.
No, you know what
somewhere
little
out
homie
there
said?
that'll-
You know what? I got to get out of here. This dude is Raider for life. I got to get out of here, man. I got to find me a new team.
This ain't gonna happen in my
Joke's on
lifetime.
you. Joke's on you, little homie.
Man.
Yeah, that's a cold game. So anyway, with all that being said, don't have to worry about kissing no ducks. But Vinny Bonsignore will join us coming up at
Great
2:30.
day.
We'll talk all things Fernando Mendoza and, of course, training camp as well. Bill Barnwell from ESPN, he'll join us at 3. We'll scatter shoot all things NFL. His thoughts on Fernando Mendoza. He's got multiple articles out. And I have to ask him because he did put that tweet out where he was talking about, already said I knew it, Trent Richardson and was it Trent Richardson? It was Trent
Genty,
Richardson and Ashton Genty. I can't get down with that comparison. So I got to ask him with all due respect, right? I'm not going to be disrespectful, but I got to ask him, like, come on, Bill, you're my homie, man. People are asking me, like, what's up with your boy, man? what's going on with Bill? So I got to ask him about that and just hear where he's coming from. Again, I don't sign up for that at all. I don't think those two dudes even eat at the same table, if you know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, we'll just scatter shoot, like I said, all things NFL with Bill Barnwell. He'll join us at 3 o'clock from ESPN. And then 4 o'clock, we've been sitting on this one for a minute, Wayne. We're excited about this. One of the reasons why I'm in studio, as much as I want to check up on Ari and as much as I know that I'll be out at the Intermountain Health Performance Center from training camp on, right, until the beginning of the season, so I won't have a chance to get in here. We also got Marlon Wayans coming in studio. Yeah, so and we found out it's his birthday. He actually turned 54 years old today, so pretty excited about that. He has a show at the MGM Grand coming up on Friday and Saturday night, and it's funny, we had Cat C, the comedian, in studio last week. Well, we got Marlon Wayans coming in studio. So if Marlon's going to come in studio, I mean, your boy's got to come in studio too, right? I mean, it's only right that I'm here. So we're gonna have some fun with Marlon, and I definitely encourage you to have some fun with him as well as he joins us here in studio 4 o'clock, right around 4 o'clock. And I can't tell you how long he's going to be in studio. I'll tell you that I'm not going to rush him out. That's for sure. Right? If he's here at 4, the show don't end until 5. So if he wants to kick it and hang out and rock with us, We could do that.
Don't worry, I won't be like, we got to take a break. We got to take a break like I normally am.
We'll break when we're supposed to break, but he just might come back with us.
You hear that, folks? Okay.
Well,
get that as a drop.
Marlon tells jokes, so I got jokes.
Oh, good. That was a funny one, Q.
There you go. So we've been working on some birthday shenanigans for Marlon as well,
Yes.
just to show him some love when he's in studio with us. And like I said, he's got shows coming up this weekend, so excited about that. So, man, we've got a hell of a show lined up. Vinny Bonsignore at 2:30, Bill Barnwell at 3, and then Marlon Wayans from the Wayans brothers, In Living Color, many different movies, White Chicks. I mean, you name it, he's done it, right? Scary Movie. Actually went and saw that one. I'm not a movie guy, but I actually went and saw that one.
Impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it was silly, but okay.
But
I mean, everything is silly,
they
right?
They're
silly all very
yes.
silly. So, so he's going to join us in studio at 4 o'clock. So we got a big show lined up. We're excited about the opportunity. And, of course, we'll hear from you throughout the course of the show at 702-365-9200. It's the Summer of Fun brought to you by Terribles as well. So, Ari, you've got to give them the word of the day. I know that we have the Southern California theme parks. That's where the trip is. You could take the cash. The cash is $3,000, but you need the word of the day. And what is the word of the day?
Freedom. Freedom. Freedom.
Okay, there you go. Freedom. That simple. Text that word right now. You have till 5 o'clock, but at a certain time, you're going to forget. You're not going to get it in. You're going to be upset at yourself. So you might as well just go ahead and do it now. Text freedom right now. FREEDOM to 702-365-9200. Before we get into the opening drive, we got to hear from our guy E-Rob. Yesterday was important. This weekend's going to be important. But today and right now is important. And why is that?
Because every day matters. The older you get, the more you start appreciating day in and day out. Because I can't get that time back. I'm in the business of saying, not if I would have did this or if I would have did that. I'm in the business of now.
I'm in the business of now as well. So right now, let's go ahead and jump into the opening drive.
The opening drive of Unnecessary Roughness on RaiderNation Radio 920 AM is brought to you by Paul Patta Law. It's not about the injury, it's about the recovery.
This is awesome. Barry from Baltimore hit us on the text line. He says, it feels like today is the beginning of a new era for the Raiders and Raider Nation moving forward. Let's ducking go. There you go. Hey, man. Shout out to my grandma, man. She didn't know that in 2026 we'd be talking about her and one of her many sayings and trust and believe. Like, everyone thinks I had sayings. Everyone thinks, like, man, where's Q come up with this stuff? You could all roads point directly to her.
Love that.
Like, I don't have no sense. She had no sense, right? And everything she said made sense, even if it didn't. So, in 2026, we're talking about my grandma talking about I'll kiss a duck. And thank you, Fernando Mendoza and the Raiders getting that contract done. I don't have to worry about that. But shout out to Barry from Baltimore on that text. We definitely do appreciate that. So, with that being said, it segues right into the subject of the show. And, there's so much conversation about Fernando Mendoza, but we're going to keep that bad boy rolling because, well, why not? So, now that Mendoza is signed, sealed, and delivered, what do you believe it's going to take for Mendoza to actually win the job, right? I'm not saying just hand it to him because he's the number one overall pick. Some people, he's number one overall, Q. Just go ahead and let him play. He's good. No. Everything is earned. Nothing is given, right? I mean, why would we think there'd be anything different from Clint Kubiak and company? I think we're all very aware of what the plan is right now. On September 26th, the plan is for Kirk Cousins to start. I think we all are aware of that. Doesn't mean that the plan can't change. But the question is, now that he's signed, sealed, and delivered, what do you believe it will take for Mendoza to win the job? Right? We'll go down that rabbit hole on this show because now he's signed. Now he's sealed. Now he's delivered. Now, as Barry in Baltimore said, it feels like the beginning of a new era. And it absolutely does.
It kind of reminds me of right before they drafted him where you were like, yeah, I just want to get to that point where we can say officially Raiders quarterback Fernando Mendoza.
Right, because that's what it was. It was a lot of speculation.
Yep.
Oh, they're not trading out. He's the number one pick. As soon as they're on the clock, just run it up. You don't have to wait, right? You could turn it in right now. What are they waiting for? And then finally, when the name was called, when we were there in Pittsburgh, it was just, even though he wasn't there, it was like, okay, there it is.
We made it.
The Raiders got their guy. Now, today, not that it was ever a question, now they've signed their guy. Their whole draft class is signed. So, with them being there, rookie camp now, or the rookies at camp now, and then the veterans next week, we know that it's going to be the course of, a handful of weeks, handful of practices, handful of preseason games, and then they're going to cut the roster down. Right now, there's a 90-man roster, or close to it. At some point, there'll be a 53-man roster. There'll be a practice squad. There'll be guys that no longer will be Raiders, and they'll be looking for other jobs. They'll be picked up by other teams, or their football career will end. And that's just unfortunate, but that's the name of the game. It's a numbers game. Everyone doesn't survive the cut. But the one thing we know is that Fernando Mendoza will be part of that 53. But for him to get that starting job out of training camp, like a lot of people want, including our guest, Vinny Bonsignore, who will join us coming up in about 15 minutes or so, he's been pounding the drum. He's been the leader of the clubhouse, right? He's that guy at the front of the line. He's been banging the drum. He's in the drum line, right? The drum line walks everybody in, right? The drums come in first, and then everyone comes in following. Vinny's at the front. Boom, 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 boom. Oh! Boom, 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 boom. Oh, right. That's Vinny at the front. And there's plenty that are right behind him. I'm not isolating him. I'm not putting him on an island by himself. Somebody that we have a lot of respect for, Amber Thea Harris, she's been banging that drum right there. She's right there with him. Matter of fact, she's trying to lead the charge. Like, move over, Vinny. She was on the Locked On Squad show, Locked On Raider Squad show this morning. What'd she do, about 6 minutes straight? On why Mendoza should start. Was it about 6 minutes, Ari?
Yeah, and somewhere in there she's like, how much time do we have? She went off. I have you'll hear a little bit of that later.
Yeah.
It was great.
And the thing about it is she wasn't just talking. She was bringing up excellent points.
Yep.
So, look, I'm open for discussion at all time. I'm an open book. You know how we roll. But I do want to hear from you. What do you believe it will take for Fernando Mendoza to win the job coming out of training camp? Now that he's signed, now that he's sealed, and now that he's delivered. And for me, I think it's going to be him doing his job, but really him having an understanding of the guys around him. To me, that's to be able to recognize when something is not right. That to me is going to be the recognition. I have no doubt he can complete the pass. I have no doubt that he can go from under center, hand the ball off. I have no doubt that he can do play-action pass. Like, he can do that. He's sharp, right? He's going to be able to pick up the playbook. He probably already knows. He probably woke up this morning. He probably was one of those guys like I do when I'm super excited about the next day or something. I'm laying in bed and I can't sleep. Like back in the day, they had the old school Mervin's commercial, and the guy was standing in front of the thing, open, 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 right? That's aging me right there. I told you it's Marlon Wayans' birthday today. He's 54. I'm almost 50. So we're in the same. He'll recognize that reference, right?
Yes, he will.
Some young people are like, Mervin's? I ain't never heard of Mervin's. I think they're out of business, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, I think
they are.
Don't quote me on that.
I think they are.
I feel bad if they're not.
Well, I ain't seen one. I ain't seen one, but I remember the commercial. Open, 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 right? That's when you're anticipating.
Oh, yeah. Since 2009.
There you go. So there's that. But yeah, I have no doubt that he was probably so anxious to get out on the grass today, and start putting in the work. And obviously the veterans will join next week. He'll be physically good to go. It's does he recognize when someone's lined up incorrectly? And the reference I keep going back to, and Paul G brings it up when he joins the show as well. I was standing right next to him and I mentioned it when guys weren't lined up correctly, and Kirk Cousins said, hey, over here. You're supposed to be lined up right here. This is where you're supposed to be. And I looked at Paul and I said, Fernando can't do that yet. When Fernando can do that, when he can tell a veteran that he's lined up incorrectly or do it right or show that veteran leadership even though he's not a veteran, when he can start doing that, that's when I think he gets the job. And if that happens before training camp and preseason's wrapped up, if he gets so comfortable and he gets the respect of those players that he's leading, commanding the huddle with, running the plays with, I have no doubt that he's going to get first-team reps during camp. I know those reports came out, but that should have been a no-brainer. Of course they're going to let him get some first-team reps. That's what training camp's for. Because once the regular season comes, you don't really have that time on task. So you got to maximize as much as you can during training camp. But when will he be able to really get the respect of the veterans? When will he be able to line up a guy correctly? When will he recognize that the guy's not lined up correctly and not just run the play? Oh, well, Fernando, you didn't have him lined up right. I didn't recognize it. And that will happen too, because there's a lot of plays that are going to look very similar. There's going to be a lot of plays that are going to sound very similar. And he's going to have to decipher. But the good thing is, as I've said so many times, he's got it between the ears. He's sharp. One of the smartest dudes probably in the league. I mean, he's just he's got super intelligence. So we throw that question out there to you. 702-365-9200. Sir Whiskey Ray, hit us up. What's happening, gentlemen? Loving today's topic. Here I go. In order for Mendoza to be our top dog, he's going to showcase it. He's going to have to showcase immediately his talents with our number one offense for him to take that number one spot. If I'm being honest, I'm hoping it happens sooner rather than later. Most importantly, this must happen organically. Just my thoughts. Thanks as always. Cheers to Whiskey Ray. P.S. Mervin's is out of business for quite some time. There you go. No, that's real, though. You know, I like what he said, right? He's going to have to showcase his talents with the number one offense. He's going to have to, just take command of the huddle and show that he is the guy that they could follow. He could be that leader as the starting quarterback is supposed to be. He could be that guy. Just win, Will. Oh, no, my brother. You don't want to be like Mervin's. They are close. LOL. Hey, man, this not only is this show like special teams, we call this show special teams for a reason. This is like the throwback show, right? We bring up Sizzler one day. We bring up Mervin's another day. I say we, it's me, right? Oh, man, we got problems.
It's a funny show today, definitely.
I mean, it's just
before Marlon even gets here.
It's apparently. Right, exactly. Just win, Will. I like that. Let's see. Someone said quack.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't get to that one yet. Brad in Concord said, I think not only does Mendoza have to be above and beyond than expected in camp, he's going to have to supersede the whole NFL learning curve that veterans like Cousins have developed over time. He could flash and light up the skies with his arm, but the NFL defenses will be throwing out things that he's never seen. So I think he's going to need to really show some fast learning to duck out of sitting and learning for a while. I see. So you're a little ahead of me there, Ari. I see. Okay. But no, that was a subtle one. That was good. But no, that's the thing. I mean, the defenses in the NFL are way more complex. They are way more faster than they are in college. You know, in college, they show one look and they come with one look. The NFL, they show one look and you think you know exactly what it is, and all of a sudden, oh, wait, hold on. Oh, no, my brother, right? They bounce out of that, and then they're into something else. That's why a team like Ohio State, their defense was so good, because their defense would show something, and then it would be something completely different. And, I mean, to Fernando's credit, he was able to do that, but that's every week. That is every week. Felix in the 818, quack. He says, hey, Q and Ari, quack. They were talking about quack, how Matt Schaub was beating DC in training camp, and how the veterans were surprised, quack, about how DC outthrew Schaub in the morning tailgate by Vinny B. So I think it's up to the coaches and veterans to give him the starting job anyway. Great stuff as always. Felix in the 818. He's loving that. He hit us with about 8 quacks in that text.
That's great.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I was close. And that was just an estimation. 7 quacks in that text by Felix. That's hilarious.
For the record, I can't find a quack noise already in the system. Otherwise, I would have played it by now. But I looked.
Alan in Vegas hit us. Yo, Q, for Mendoza to win the job, he's got to command the huddle and the offense better than Cousins. Easy as that. He's got to own it like Derek Carr did in 2014 when he took the job from Schaub. Guys can see and feel leadership. He's got to be a leader if he wants the job week 1. Enjoy the rest of the week, Alan in Vegas. That's a good point, and I know that there's always going to be references to Derek Carr in 2014. Derek Carr did win the job. He won the job on the strength of preseason game number 4 against Seattle. But he also won the job because Matt Schaub had a dead arm. His arm was done. Matter of fact, I could tell you, being a witness, his arm was donezo when he was in Houston. Right? There's a reason why and Nash and H-Town could chime in and confirm this. They had a burger joint in Houston that was giving out the Pick 6. It was a burger called the Pick 6. I don't make this stuff up. Because he had thrown, remember Matt Schaub had thrown a pick 6 in like 8 straight games? It was some ridiculous number. It's like, what is he doing? At one point, they thought he was doing it on purpose. If sports betting was legal then, they would have thought he was doing it on purpose. Right? If DraftKings or FanDuel or, William Hill, locally, Caesars, Boomers, all those, if those were all active like they're active now, you would have thought that he was throwing the game. That's how many pick 6 he had. But no joke. there was a burger spot in Houston that had signs out front that said, "Come get the pick six," dedicated to Matt Schaub. He was still a Texan at the time. He hadn't got cut.
That's tough.
That's how angry they were at that dude. So, yes, Derek Carr beat him out in 2014, but Matt Schaub was done. He was donezo. Now, I was excited with Carr because I was excited when they drafted him. You know, I had seen him at Fresno State. I knew that he could play, and I knew that no matter who they brought in, right, Schaub or Matt Flynn or insert whatever name they had put in at that, you know, at those stages of the game, weren't them. So at least they went and drafted a guy. And so Carr gave you hope. Mendoza gives you more than hope. This is a guy, I mean, Carr did some good things at Fresno State, but he didn't go win a Heisman. He didn't go win the national championship. He didn't go undefeated, right? He didn't do any of that, but he was really good. Don't get me wrong. So he gave him hope. Now Raider Nation really, truly has hope with Fernando Mendoza in the big mix. So now that he signed, sealed, and delivered, what do you believe it's going to take for Fernando Mendoza to win the job? Let us know your thoughts on the text line 702-365-9200. Vinny Bonsignore, we'll ask him that question and more as he joins us next here on Raider Nation Radio 920.
That was the opening drive of Unnecessary Roughness on Raider Nation Radio 920 AM. Brought to you by Paul Padala. It's not about the injury, it's about the recovery.
Like, why would you not want him out there? What do you have to lose? If you think that he is capable of playing in the NFL, which you just spent a number one pick on, unless you see a catastrophe in shorts and half pads in some, BS preseason games, unless you see a catastrophe in that situation, why wouldn't you see what's up? If he's not grasping the offense, does anybody think that mentally he's not going to grasp the offense? He's one of the smartest guys I've ever talked to.
It's Unnecessary Roughness. Let's go inside the huddle with Vinny Bonsignore, sponsored by Dos Caras Tequila and presented by the Realty One Group.
That was this morning on the Raiders Squad Show. Amber Thea Harris was sliding in for Lincoln Kennedy, and she was waxing poetically, and she went on for about 6 good minutes on why not put Fernando out there. What do you have to lose? And now that Fernando Mendoza is officially signed, sealed, delivered, rookie camp, or the rookies reported to camp today. Obviously, the veterans will be there next week, and the first day of practice will come up on Wednesday. But now, all is a go. So I throw the question out there to you. Now that Mendoza is in there, now that he's got his contract, what do you believe it'll take for Mendoza to win the starting job? Join us now on the phone line is a guy that I believe is firmly in the same camp as Amber Thea Harris is. That's our guy, Vinny Bonsignore from the California Post and the Morning Tailgate right here on Raider Nation Radio 920. And Vinny, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate you. So you heard what Amber had to say on the way in. Why not Fernando Mendoza? What do you have to lose? What says you when you hear that?
Yeah, I agree. I think it could go 3 ways. I think he wins the job out of training camp, which the Raiders are more than open to have happen. I think, they feel like, okay, not just yet. We're gonna start the season with Kirk, but the plan is to get Fernando out there for an extensive period of time, 9-10 games, whatever that might be. That's another approach, and then the other one would be, a lot of magic is in the air. There's some pixie dust that's been sprinkled on the Raiders and Kirk Cousins. And all of a sudden they're winning and they're in the playoff hunt. And if that happens, if he gets the start, the Raiders are going to let that play out until it peters out or see where it gets them. So I think that they're dealing from a position of strength. Either Fernando wins the job, we're going to still get him on the field if he doesn't. But if it's going really well, there's no need to make a change at that point. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to our fans to go out there and let that thing roll out, because you never know sometimes when there's enough magic in the air.
So with that being said, Vinny, what do you think it will take? We're going to be out there next week. What do you think it's going to take for Fernando Mendoza to actually win the job straight up out of camp?
I think it's going to be his understanding of what's going on at the line of scrimmage, his command of the huddle, his understanding of the offense, his understanding of what's going on the other side of the ball. And to create somewhat of a comfort zone for the Raiders to decide, hey, look, he knows enough of this offense for us to build a offensive game plan on a weekly basis right now at the starting point to go out there and play competitive football. I don't think he needs to go out there and, put a show on and dazzle everybody. It's not this is Clint Kubiak. It's John Spytek. These guys know what they're looking for, especially they understand what they need to hear from Fernando in whatever feedback he gives them in their discussions in the classroom, out on the field, when they're in his ear out there during camp. So I think it's a lot of those little things. It's probably not going to be, oh, my gosh, we saw him throw another great pass in training camp, which we're going to see that. We're also going to see him throw interceptions in training camp. That's just kind of the way it goes. But I think the Raiders are going to know what they need to see to feel comfortable that he's ready to go out there and acquit himself, protect himself, make the right calls. Because that's one thing that we see sometimes with young quarterbacks, and I don't know that Fernando's going to be in this category. I actually think he's ahead of the game in this regard. But you see some of their calls at the line of scrimmage when it comes to the pressure, and they're just getting their head taken off because they didn't see it correctly. And that was their fault, basically, more than anything. So if they see those types of things, then I feel like they'll be comfortable with him to start the season. If there's a little bit of apprehension, that's what Kirk Cousins is there for.
Vinny Bonsignore is with us here at Raider Nation Radio 920, Unnecessary Roughness. I was just talking about when the Raiders drafted Derek Carr back in 2014 in round 2. I was excited because I knew Matt Schaub was in the building, and he had a dead arm. I knew guys like Matt Flynn had rolled through those doors. I knew all the cast of characters who had gone through the door as the Raiders quarterbacks ever since Rich Gannon, and it just wasn't very good. So he provided hope for the Raiders, but he was a second-round pick. He didn't win a Heisman. He didn't win a national championship. He didn't go undefeated. So he provided hope in 2014. What is Fernando Mendoza? What is he providing for Raider Nation now?
Yeah, I mean, this is the possibilities are endless. The hope is boundless when you think about it. I mean, it's the first pick overall, and it's a quarterback. And it's not, I love and think the world of Cam Ward. But you think about the differences between Cam Ward, the pedigree, the recent history. We're talking about a Heisman Trophy winner. We're talking about a national champion. We're talking about a guy that just led Indiana to a 16-0 record and was one of the biggest reasons for that. And that, a champion went out there and performed for everybody to see at the highest levels and delivered in those critical moments. I mean, I don't remember seeing Cam Ward do those types of things all the time. And nothing against him. He's a great young quarterback in his own right. But this is the top of the line when it comes to – it's just such a great story, too, because Raider Nation fans were able to jump on board on that journey because they kind of figured that, hey, there's a possibility we're going to end up drafting this Fernando Mendoza kid. Let's take a look at him. And he put on a show and created so much hope that, okay, you look at the way he plays the game as well, and you're like, why shouldn't that translate to the NFL? He's an NFL. He's making NFL caliber throws. He's performing on the biggest stages. He's delivering critical plays, whether it's with his legs or with his arm at the most opportune time for his team when his team needs it. He showed you this isn't a skillsy guy. This isn't a guy that can throw the ball a mile, but man, got to fix a lot of other things. It feels like he's ready to go. And so there's a lot of hope that comes with that. And not only that, there's with what they're doing in and around him and the new coach and the new leadership that's in place, you can kind of see how there's a real possibility that all of this comes together in a way that it hasn't come together for the Raiders in a long time.
And we'll stick with rookies since the rookies reported to camp today. Again, Vinny Bonsignore is with us here on Raider Nation Radio 920. Jamad McCoy, he signed his contract on yesterday. It was only him and Fernando left. He was a first-round talent, dropped to the fourth round. We know why, because of injuries. How do you think the Raiders navigate McCoy through training camp? And what I mean is we heard Clint Kubiak talk about Alex Guerrero and steps, managing steps on grass, steps on turf. Well, how do you think it's going to go through training camp?
Yeah, I think there will be some management of him, but at some point, and he's healthy, he needs to get out there and play. This is a guy that hasn't played football for a long time in terms of actually playing the game. You have to go back to the playoffs of the 2020, so early 2025, right? Yeah, January of 2025 was the last time he actually played football, and so that's been a long time. So there's a time to be cautious. And there was that time in OTAs and minicamp, and then there's a time where you can't be scared anymore. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But it's no longer about, gosh, we're worried about where the knee is right now, or any of that type of stuff. It's really about the longevity of it all. And he needs to get on the field, and they know that to start shaking off the rust and being the player that he has the capability of being. And if he is right, and for an extended period of time, hopefully knock on wood, it's for many, many, many years, this guy is a dynamic football player straight out, and somebody that it's been a while since the Raiders had a cornerback that was this twitchy, this athletic, this explosive, this instinctual at that position. So he could be a lot of fun to watch if everything works out correctly.
What are your realistic expectations from McCoy this year, knowing everything that you know about him and where he is right now?
If he's where it's been explained to me where he is from a health standpoint, it's going to take him a little while to shake off the rust, no doubt. But I firmly believe that if he's good to go and ready to go, this is a guy that has a chance to be defensive rookie of the year type candidate by the end of the year. Yeah, he's that good. He's that good. And you know that.
Yeah.
Q.
Yeah.
You know that.
For sure. No, I don't know when he's going to get on the grass. I don't know if he's going to start the season or if he's going to, they're going to ease him into the season. I'm not too sure. I identified Traden Stukes and Trey Zune as the rookies that I thought were day one starters. I'm still going to stick with those two just because I said it, and we'll see how it plays out. But we know Zune is very versatile, so we'll see how that goes with that offensive line. But Stukes is a guy, second-round pick, a lot of people are excited about, and also versatile. What are your thoughts or maybe even projections on him before we actually see him in training camp action?
Very, very high as well. And he's another player that could be in that running. And when's the last time you said that about a couple of Raiders rookies? And I think he's going to play a lot. I'm very curious because I don't know. Right. Exactly where he's going to line up on a down-to-down basis. You mentioned the versatility, which is something that he absolutely has. I think they're going to find the right role for him. I like the coaches that are in place there in the secondary to figure out the best way to use him. But I would imagine that when it's all said and done, he's going to be kind of one of those Where's Waldo guys. You're going to have to keep an eye on Stukes to figure out where he's lining up. And that includes the offense and the quarterback on where that guy's lining up, because I think he is a playmaker from the secondary. And again, another kind of commodity in terms of a young player. I know Jeremy Chin kind of profiles that way as well, but he's a little bit older. As in terms of a young player, to get that kind of versatility, that kind of playmaking at that age is pretty cool for the Raiders. Yeah, it really is. Vinny Bonsignore is with us here, Raider Nation Radio 920. Well, what rookie do you look at right now, or I guess even young guy, because look, outside of Ashton Genty, the rookies last year didn't really get any burn. What young player, 1 or 2 year guy, do you think could be most impactful for this team this season? Yeah, it's interesting because the guy that I keep hearing about from in the building is Tonka Hemingway. Okay. Definitely flashed toward the end of the year. Last year got on the field. He was on a development track during the season. Put a lot of work in, and it showed by the end of the year. He was making plays. Mm-hmm. So, and I know that there's a feeling inside the building that there's some real momentum for him to build on. So he's somebody that I definitely keep an eye on, just because of who I'm hearing it from. I trust a lot, and they're not pie in the sky or anything like that. And I feel like he's somebody that has a bright future, and we'll see if that happens early this season for him. Well, we'll close out with this, and fantastic stuff as always. Vinny Bonsignore with us here from on RaiderNation Radio 920. Of course, you can check him out on the Morning Tailgate, and he's got the California Post. All his work is there. You can definitely check that out. All right, so you got the offensive line. Trey Zune, I mentioned him. He's a third-round pick. Caleb Rogers, he's a guy that I think a lot of us were excited about. Didn't see him a whole lot last year. Charles Grant, I've heard great things about him. Didn't get to see much of him. JPJ, he's the fan favorite. How are you seeing this competition, kind of just ramping up in training camp for what I believe is maybe 2 guard spots and a right tackle? How do you see this thing shaping out? Yeah, I think they really like DJ Glaze. I know they really like DJ Glaze, and they feel like a lot of what was going on last year was in and around him more than him. I was talking to somebody that said, they just marveled in a bad way when they put on the tape and saw guys making so many mistakes along the offensive line, and it wasn't necessarily a talent issue or a mental issue. It was clear they weren't being taught the right way and coached the right way. So that was a problem, and there were plays that were pointed out to me where, yeah, you could probably blame DJ Glaze if you don't know what's going on, but it wasn't his fault. That was not his fault that happened. So there's a lot of good feeling for DJ Glaze over at right tackle. I think they really like Spencer Burford at left guard right now. And maybe for the whole season, maybe at some point that'll get handed off to Trey Zune. But right now, they like him. So I think if there's one position, really one, that is wide open for somebody to win that job, it is that right guard spot with JPJ and Caleb Rogers. So I think they're good everywhere else. That isn't to say that somebody like Trey Zune or anyone else, Charles Grant, can't come into training camp and knock somebody's socks off and open everybody's eyes and win the job. But I think they're pretty comfortable at those four spots, and they're really looking at that right guard spot as a wide open competition, and somebody needs to step up.
Let me ask you this real quick. Do you think that, and I mentioned this on yesterday's show, do you think at some point, not saying right away, Trey Zune may be in line to be the guy that slides into that left tackle spot once Colton Miller decides to vacate it?
That could be, yeah. I'm really curious on what he's going to look like and really where he's going to be lining up. Like you said, he's got a lot of versatility. Sometimes that could be a blessing. Sometimes that could be a curse, because I'm sure as a player, I mean, you want to be as versatile as possible. That's going to earn you a spot on the team and create a lot of confidence and trust in you. But at some point, I'm sure as a player, you want to kind of master one position and and figure out where your home is long range in the NFL. And I don't know where that's going to be right now for Trey Zune. It could be at guard. He could be the left guard of the future, right? He could be the right guard of the future. He could be the right tackle of the future. So I think they're going to kind of let that play out, and so that's why do I think he can win a starting job right out of camp? Yeah, I think he's got the talent to do that. Do I think he's going to? Just the way things are shaping up right now, maybe not. But again, they're wide open in terms of the best man and the best men are going to win these jobs, and so nobody's a closed book. Nothing's closed off to anybody for that matter. But I am very curious where he ultimately settles in as training camp goes on, and whether or not he is a potential left tackle of the future for the Raiders.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's here, right? I mean, the rookies reported to camp, the veterans next week, and, of course, we'll be out there, and it'll be a full throttle all the way through the season, through free agency, the draft, and we'll do it all over again, man. So we're definitely looking forward to it. We officially made it. Vinny, what are you working on, man, that we should be on the lookout for?
Doing exactly what we just talked about, breaking down position battles, who needs to step up, and I think we talked about this last week. JPJ is first and foremost on the who needs to step it up list. I think he knows that, and I think everyone in the building understands that. And so we will see, and of course, just kind of figuring out what we're going to see from Fernando Mendoza right off the bat. I know that he's been putting in a lot of work since the last time we saw him, so curious to find out where Fernando is and the progress that he's made since we last saw him in minicamp.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We'll be out there next week and be able to check out all the action for ourselves. Vinny, great stuff as always, my man. Thanks so much for your time. We appreciate you.
All right. Have a great show.
Will do. Vinny Bonsignore right there from the California Post. You can find all his work there. And, of course, you can hear him every single morning on the Morning Tailgate, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with Vince Sapienza and Clay Baker right here. 702-365-9200. We hear from you next. Now that Mendoza is signed, sealed, and delivered, what do you believe it will take for him to win the job coming out of training camp? We hear from you next. It's RaiderNation Radio 920.
He lines up as an H-back to the right. Here's the snap back and the throw. Fernando goes to the end zone. Touchdown! Omar Cooper comes up with another brilliant play, and the throw by Fernando Mendoza was dead on the money.
Now back to Unnecessary Roughness with your boy Q. Presented by Meineke, doing car care right.
Bill Barnwell comes up at the top of the hour talking all things NFL. Get his thoughts on Fernando Mendoza. You heard a Fernando Mendoza highlight right there, and hopefully all season long, or the majority of the season, we hear a ton of Fernando Mendoza highlights. I know a lot of Raider Nation would be happy about that now that he's signed, sealed, and delivered, got his contract done today. Not that there was ever a question, was it going to get done? It was not a matter of if, it was when, and when was today. It's Unnecessary Roughness here on Raider Nation Radio 920, and now that that contract is done, what do you believe it'll take for Fernando Mendoza to actually win the job coming out of training camp? 702-365-9200. That's the text line and the phone line. Let's go to that phone line real quick and talk to a very patient Raider Mike. Raider Mike, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
What the duck's going on, Q? How you doing, bro?
Quack, quack. Everything is good, brother.
you know I'm a duck.
I know.
In fact, I wish I was literally a duck. I mean, we got that tropical storm. We're probably getting 4 or 5 inches of rain here in Carolinas. So anyway, and then I heard that drop earlier today about Malik Benson coming to the front of the congregation.
Oh, yeah.
That was the funniest drop you've ever done in your life. I was rolling around in the car. I'm like, in the middle of this rainstorm, we're talking about ducks, and then it even goes further when you start the show. So maybe it's a sign. My Ducks are going to finally win a title since 1939.
Hey,
when,
you know what?
Hitler invaded Poland.
That would be a good sign for JPJ as well. He's a Duck.
Exactly.
Yep.
That was my next comment.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the Ducks now.
There you go.
It's in the air now. It's in the air. You know I love my Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
Fernando, I saw the pictures of him signing the contract. There were pictures of Indiana uniform behind him. He wants to express that he's a Cal Bear. I've got it between the ears. I'm not a Hoosier. I only went there to win a title and a Heisman. I graduated from Cal Berkeley, so Oaktown wins there. So anyway, what's it going to take? Look, Cousins had his best year of his career with Kubiak up in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
He was on fire that year. He knows this offense. It's going to take a Herculean effort for Fernando. Fernando! I haven't said that in a while. To take that job from him. Because what's his 14th year? 15? He's been
Yeah, at some point
time.
he stopped counting. He's been around for so long.
Too long. He's worked the NFL pay scale and contracts like no other.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got weapons that almost are better than he had in Minnesota. So we'll see, man. I want Fernando to start. I really do. I mean, he's definitely between the ears. He's going to pick up that playbook.
Yep.
But Cousins is still going to be ahead of him. So we're going to see.
Right.
And, I would never wish this on Kirk because I love that guy. He's a good dude. Injury. If he gets injured, Fernandez, he's in.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't want it to go that way. I want Fernando to just whoop his ass in camp. I'm just as smart as you. I got this playbook down, and I got a better arm than you now. So that's kind of my I think our core. You know me, 7 years? All I've done is just yell about the Raiders doing wrong things. I haven't been yelling this year at all. We nailed it. And let's just see the fruition. And you got Brady looking over Fernando's shoulder going, Brady will know when he's ready. And so will Clint. So that's kind of where it's at. Good to go. Good to hear your voice, Q. Raiders, I'm out, bro.
There he is. Raider Mike hasn't been upset all offseason long, and he's definitely not upset with Fernando now in the mix. So what will that mean for Fernando? What does Bill Barnwell think? He joins us next, kicking off hour number 2 of the show. It's RaiderNation Radio 920.
I mean, how's he not going to be looking good? That's what people say. Well, if he looks good. Well, if he didn't look good, they wouldn't have picked him number 1 overall. What are they looking at? It's also training camp. They really don't know until he goes out there. I'm getting more and more bullish on this because I'm sick of it. They're in such a great position if he just sits and Kirk plays. Who got better in their life not doing what they're being asked to do? The real growth and really learning how to do the job does not come until you get out there and you actually do it. And that's with every position.
It's Unnecessary Roughness. Presented by Meineke, doing car care right. Here's your boy Q.
And as we kick off hour number 2 of the show, Unnecessary Roughness here on RaiderNation Radio 920, we come into the sounds of Amber Thea Harris from the Raider Squad show this morning, where she was very, very strong with her take on Fernando Mendoza starting day 1 and made the point who got better by actually watching as opposed to going out there and doing. So we kicked off the show since Fernando Mendoza is now under contract. You got that taken care of this morning. What do you believe it'll take for Fernando Mendoza to actually win the job? Hit us up on the text line at 9200. Joining us now on the phone lines is our good friend Bill Barnwell from ESPN. And Bill, thanks so much for your time. I do appreciate you. And you put out the article, NFL All Backup Team. Could a roster of bench players actually contend? And one of those guys on the bench team, the backup team, would be Fernando Mendoza. Because right now, as you pointed out in your article, he's slotted to not start the season. In your opinion, what would it take for him to start the season for the Raiders instead of being the backup?
You know what, Q? I really think it would take him just looking confident. I think that's the biggest thing with a lot of rookies is they come into the league in preseason, you see them get reps, and there's just not a consistency. Like they'll have a rep that looks great, and they'll have a rep that looks like they never played football before. And I think from a coach perspective, when you see that, you say, well, let's let him sit for a bit. Let's let him get more familiar with protections, get that weekly prep in as a backup. Inevitably, they come in earlier than everyone expects. Every team says, yeah, we're going to let this guy sit for a while. And then like week 3, they're on the lineup the first chance they get because there's a reason they draft these guys with top 5 picks. You want to see them play sooner rather than later. But with Mendoza, he was so poised last year at Indiana. It seemed like he was so prepared. Everything about the guy, we hear is that he's an incredibly prepared, incredibly thorough person. And so I think all of that points to him playing sooner rather than later.
When you look at Fernando and what he's able to bring and going on that magical run there at Indiana, what do you feel like, what should the fan base feel about him as their number 1 overall pick and eventually, whenever he gets into it, their franchise quarterback?
They should be excited. He's a very different kind of dude. Like I thinking about Jackson Dart, and he's sort of like the polar opposite of Jackson Dart in a way. Like Jackson Dart's going to do some dumb stuff and going to kind of be excited and rile up the crowd. Fernando Mendoza is going to be like posting on LinkedIn and, excited about that. And there's nothing wrong with either one of those things. It's just different kind of person. But I do think you see like a consistency. That's the big word that comes to mind for me. I know it's already a couple of times, but like, think about that national title game, how consistently he was hitting those outs where if you leave that inside, it's a pick six. You have to be not only brave to make that throw, but trust your ability to actually make a pass like that over and over again because defenses are going to give you stuff like that in the NFL. They're going to dare you, hey, you can make this perfect pass, you're going to get a completion, but you're going to have to be perfect every single time. And Mendoza was both confident enough to make those throws and consistent enough to do it to where it helped win his team a football game. And then, of course, the playmaking at the end of that game, the scramble for to set up a touchdown. I think you're hoping for like a guy who just looks like he belongs from day one. And Derek Carr, had some element of that at some points during his career, but he was a pretty consistent quarterback too. And I think necessarily didn't have the ceiling that Mendoza does. So, everyone hopes for like the Jaden Daniels, the CJ Stroud, like the overnight sensation that kind of like revitalizes the franchise. And that's not out of the realm of possibility. But I just think having a guy who looks like he belongs on an NFL field and is going to be a starter for a long time would be a major step in the right direction for the Raiders.
Again, Bill Barnwell from ESPN is with us here on Raider Nation Radio 920. This is a new offensive line zone blocking scheme that they're trying to implement. Would you err on the side of caution and make sure that line is in place before you put Fernando Mendoza back there, or are you willing to let him take his lumps early?
It all depends. Like I think it's not necessarily like this line's not going to be, the 2024 Eagles, right, even with a full season to work together. But I think it's more like, do you feel like you have confidence in Tyler Linderbaum to be, the guy making the calls for the line of scrimmage? Do you have confidence that, Spencer Burford and Jackson Powers Johnson feel like they're making the strides in the right direction? Do you have confidence you can help DJ Glaze? Do you have confidence the receivers are set? And like you can get, 5 eligibles out in the offense. I think it's like there's not like one thing I'm looking for. It's just that broader context. And then on top of that, the important thing that comes to mind here is Finn Kubiak's scheme, because that is a scheme that makes life easier for his offensive linemen. It gets them on the run in the run game, which linemen love to do. They get to plow people over, get some acceleration. And then in the passing game, the heavy play action, the boot game, the naked game, all that stuff is going to make life easier for Fernando Mendoza and easier for his offensive line because they don't have to hold up one-on-one against pass rushers who have pinned their ears back like they had to do last year in Chip Kelly's scheme and years prior, another Dustin Daniels scheme. So I do think it's not just like do we have 5 studs, but more just, are we taking 5 guys who are, a range of pretty good to not all that great, and then making their life easier. And Clint Kubiak did a great job of that last year in Seattle. That really helped that offense.
In your article, NFL all backup team, could a roster of bench players contend? Not only was Fernando Mendoza listed for the Raiders, but also Malcolm Kuntz. He's on another one-year deal. The second half of 2023, he was fantastic. In 2024, tore his ACL. Last year, looked like he was still coming back, trying to get his confidence from that ACL. What are your expectations? Again, second year, one-year deal he's been getting from the team. It seems like they believe in him, but it feels like, Bill, he's got to pop this year.
No question. And I mean, sometimes you hear that from players. It takes a couple of years to return from an ACL tear and be close to 100%. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's going to be very different if Max Crosby's there all season versus if Max Crosby gets traded, because if they do trade Max Crosby at the trade deadline, that gives Malcolm Kuntz second half of the season to get a shot as a full-time starter, most likely, and show what he can do. If not, Woody Paye is going to be there. Max Crosby is going to be there. Malcolm Kuntz probably going to be in a situational role. Maybe he'll see more snaps in the interior as a pass rusher against guard, which I think he can do and did well in 2023, like you mentioned. Sometimes guys just have a good half season, but watching that guy play in the second half of 23, it was like, man, they really found somebody across from Max Crosby. He was a real difference maker and really heading in the right direction. So obviously a bummer to see him get hurt, miss all of 24. But rooting for him to kind of, even if it's not a full-time role, even in a situational role, you can still get paid a lot of money in the NFL if you can prove you can rush the quarterback. So hoping for the best for Malcolm Kuntz this year. I think he's an underrated player.
Bill Barnwell, ESPN, is with us here, Raider Nation Radio 920. I got to ask you, Bill, I saw the tweet, and Raider Nation saw the tweet where you had Trent Richardson and you had Ashton Jeanty side by side, and I was like, no, Bill, no. Don't go there, please. What was going on with that tweet when you saw the numbers from Richardson and also Jeanty from last year?
I did the bird box thing where I was like, I didn't want to look at it, but my eyes, I couldn't close my eyes. I kept staring at it over and over again. And no, I do not think Ashton Jeanty is Trent Richardson. And obviously I hope for Raiders fans say Ashton Jeanty is not Trent Richardson. And everyone has said the same thing, and it's totally fair. Like the scheme, the offensive line play did not allow Ashton Jeanty to be Ashton Jeanty last year. And there's some truth to that. But I will say at the same time, there are things Ashton Jeanty has to work on that he did not do all that well last year. A lot of situations I saw last year in short yardage where he needed to run over a guy or pick up an extra yard by falling forward. He didn't necessarily do that. A little bit indecisive as the year went along. I don't think he trusted his blocking, which maybe makes sense because the blocking was not very good last year. Some mental mistakes. He had a couple of plays where there was a pick six with the Texans where Geno Smith kind of expected him to settle. He kept running through a pick six to Derek Stingley. Had a ball bounce off his helmet, I believe, for an interception, later in the year as well. I still think the talent is there. I don't think it's like he's a bad player. I just think this is really the first time in his life Ashton Jeanty didn't succeed. The first time he was not a superstar from the moment he stepped on the field. And that's an adjustment period for anybody as they enter the pros. If you're the dude for so long and then suddenly you can't make stuff happen, you're just getting bottled up over and over and over again, that can really weigh in a player. So I think it's going to be important not just for Jeanty to get kind of off to a hot start, but for this coaching staff to kind of build up his confidence again. I do think there is a really good player there, but I think there's just a lot of work to be done. And obviously, the first year being a disappointment doesn't help for a guy who was kind of a controversial top 10 pick relative to all the other spots where they could have maybe waited to draft a running back and got a guy in a different position. They needed more.
Yeah, no, there's definitely those conversations. And I'll say I was still pretty impressed with everything he had going against him. He only came up 25 yards short of 1,000 and still had 1,300 scrimmage yards and 10 total touchdowns. So I felt like he did a lot with the very little that he was working with. So I felt that was encouraging, that he has room to grow for sure.
Yeah, no question. I'll tell you what, there are plays last year where you watch them and you're like, man, that's why they took him seventh. That's why I took him in the top 10. The athleticism is there to me, and I think that's exciting. The big playability is there. But for great running backs, even when they don't have the best offensive line around them, they still tend to get a little more than they got last year. So not ruling it out by any means. If we see another year like last year, I'm going to be concerned. This year needs to be a step forward, and I think the Raiders are going to get one from their second-year running back.
Yeah, definitely needs to be a step forward, and that goes for the whole team in general. Again, Bill Barnwell, ESPN, is with us here at Raider Nation Radio 920. What do you feel about this Clint Kubiak offense? You referenced it earlier with Brock Bowers as the number one target. Ashton Jeanty, obviously the lead dog when it comes to the running back position. How much can those two guys be a 1-2 punch in this Kubiak-led offense?
I mean, look at Kenneth Walker and JSN last year, right? Like, that was an offense where that was built through two guys. Like, basically, it was JSN and then whichever running back they were highlighting that week, whether it was Zach Charbonnet or whether it was Kenneth Walker. And that worked. I mean, Brock Bowers is not the same necessarily kind of player as JSN. He's not going to be the guy, running the deeper routes, the deep posts, all that stuff. But on all those crossers, all those plays where you can run away from coverage on those boots, on those play fakes, Brock Bowers can be that dude. He's going to get linebackers. He's going to get safeties. We know he can run away from those guys. We know he has soft hands. We know he has great, after catch ability. It should be a very special season if he can stay healthy. I think just, my question is, who's the number two? Whether in the running game, if Genty's number two in the passing game, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But, he's not going to be the guy running, deeper routes. Can Trey Tucker be that guy? Can Jack Besh be that guy? Can Jalen Naylor, who they paid a lot of money to this offseason, can he be that guy? It's really that's the mystery to me. And then I'm sure you've talked about this a lot, Q, this idea of, should they go out and get a Stephon Diggs? Should they go out and get a Deebo Samuel? To me, I think there's, plenty of evidence that they could help a young quarterback like Vinny Bonsignore. Look what Stephon Diggs did for Drake May last year, playing half the snaps for the Patriots. He was a really valuable player for them. And I have to think the Raiders would be open to considering adding at least one other wide receiver between now and the start of the season to make their quarterback's life easier.
I could see them doing something, midway through training camp. Steph Diggs, I don't think is going to be a guy that they want to bring to Vegas. Just gut feeling tells me they don't want to bring Steph to Vegas. But, they might look out there on the open market and say we need to if a Besh or a Thornton or one of these other guys you mentioned aren't really cutting it in training camp. I think they're going to give them the first opportunity. Well, Bill, fantastic stuff as always. I'll close out with this, and this is just league-wide in general. Is there a team or two that you kind of have your eye on that you feel like they're that team that's on the cusp of really being good?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple different teams. Giants, sort of like the bad team, I take a step forward. I just think John Harbaugh's a great coach. A lot of talent there. Didn't really come together last season. A lot of injuries. Malik Neighbors, thankfully, looks like he's going to avoid the PUP list to start the year. So that's kind of hopefully a step in the right direction for him being close to 100%. And then I'll throw the Texans out there as well. I was reading the FTN Football Almanac book. They think the Texans are the favorites in the AFC to make it to the Super Bowl. I know people kind of are like, well, we know what they are. They win a playoff game and disappoint. I know CJ Stroud was disappointing in the postseason, but man, I just think if they could get a running game, that is one of the most complete teams in football. So I just think the Texans have another gear they might be able to hit this season. So I'll go Giants on kind of like the bad to good side and Texans from the good to great side.
Yeah, the Texans, they have a Super Bowl caliber defense. Can that offense play the role, and can C.J. Stroud be that guy? Well, Bill, fantastic stuff as always. It's great catching up with you. What are you working on that we should be on the lookout for?
Oh man, Q, I don't even know anymore. I'm just we're in the dead of the offseason. I'm making teams out of backups. We're going to trade value for Josh Allen. We're just trying to get to football. So close.
We are here. Training camp's full throttle next week. So you won't have to make up any backup teams anymore. I'll tell you that. You'll be talking about the real teams. Thanks so much, Bill. It's always great catching up with you. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Q. Have a good weekend.
All right, you do the same. Bill Barnwell right there, ESPN, with us here on RaiderNation Radio 920. Really good stuff. And, yeah, that Texans question is definitely a big question. Obviously, we'll see Houston up close and personal the second week of the preseason when they have the scrimmage against the Raiders and, of course, the preseason game number 2. That's August 20th there in H-Town. So we'll get to see them up close and personal. I know a lot of Raider fans are excited to see what that Raiders offensive line looks like against that Texans defensive line. Because those are some absolute dudes in all caps. If I'm sending you a text and I'm talking about them, I'm putting that dudes in all caps. It's just that simple. I mean, they are that stinking good, and they could take them to the Super Bowl. But C.J. Stroud and that offense are going to have to do a lot of work to make sure they're on the same page and complimenting what that defense can do. Many thanks to Bill Barnwell. We do appreciate him. We do want to hear from you, 702-365-9200. We threw the question out there. Now that Mendoza is signed, sealed, and delivered, what do you believe it will take for him to actually win the job coming out of training camp, as many folks want him to do? Let us know your thoughts again, 702-365-9200. Let's see. Julio hit us up. JC in San Diego. RaiderNation. There you go. He said, Fernando will physically beat out Curtin Camp without a doubt. Fernando will also have the playbook down and have command of the line. What will dictate who starts the season is how ready the offensive line is, because we're not throwing him out there to run for his life. I expect the offensive line to be presentable, by week 1, so be ready for Fernando to start the season again. That's JC in San Diego, and he said Raider Nation. So there you go. That's cool. Jimmy in Vancouver, Q. Mendoza is intelligent and talented enough to win the job. He doesn't have to show any flash in preseason to win the job. You can tell by his demeanor and body language he already is a winner. I think it's what Kirk Cousins won't show in training camp that will win the job for Fernando. That's Jimmy in Vancouver. So he's putting more of that on Kirk Cousins as opposed to on Fernando Mendoza. And that could be, an element of it. I think that Kirk Cousins is probably the healthiest he's been in quite a while. So if anything, I think he's going to be able to really command that offense. I think he's going to have a good understanding of the offense and how to get guys lined up and how to get them in the right position. I think he's going to be just fine. I think Fernando's going to just have to look like he's that much better. And as John McClain has said and Kirk Morrison has said and many others who have joined the show, right, the players will tell you who needs to be starting. Who are they going out there and stones against the wall for, right? Who are they going out there and going full throttle for the whole time? And that will be a factor as well. And that'll be something that the coaching staff, if I can notice it, and the players are noticing it, obviously the coaching staff will be able to notice it as well. They got the film. They'll go back and go through practice in real time. They'll go back and look through the film. They'll have film study. They'll break it down. They'll sit there and huddle with their other coaches and say, oh, hey, man, look how these guys operate with this dude behind center. That could be the factor there as far as I'm concerned. 702-365-9200. Keep that feedback coming. Text line and phone line. Let's go out to the phone line. As a matter of fact, let's talk to the money man. It ain't Floyd Mayweather. It's Money Mitch. Money Mitch, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
It's Mitch Wayne Mulholland. If you ever get a tweet, it's not spam. How you doing, Q?
I'm good. How are you?
How you guys doing? Pretty good. I gave you the fight on. I think the only quarterback that's better than my USC Jaden Mayava is the Ducks' Dante Moore. I think he's the best quarterback in the country right now. And he didn't want to be a Jet. So that's why he went back to school, among other things. I think they're neck and neck. As soon as he stops having the butterflies, he's in. I think because we got the weapons for him, just along the line, protect him, and things are looking good. I expect to see Mendoza starting no later than game 2.
Okay, no later than game 2. So one and done for Kirk Cousins is what you're saying.
Yeah, next year he can babysit the Jets, either the Jets or the Cardinals. They'll be getting the first pick, and I pray for whoever winds up being a Jet.
Okay. Sounds good. That's all you got for me?
I try to keep it short and sweet. It's always, probably want to talk about the Dodgers?
No.
Q, thanks a lot. You don't, huh?
No.
I'll do the opposite. Q, you have a nice day.
All right, brother, you too. Money Mitch right there and grandchild in the background lurking, I can tell. Really good call. Thanks so much for that. Definitely appreciate you. So sounds like earlier than expected as far as Money Mitch. He's thinking that it's going to happen pretty quickly for Fernando Mendoza, and maybe it does. It might happen just like that, or it might be a minute before he actually gets into the action. But we'll find out. Like they say, it'll reveal itself sooner rather than later. 702-365-9200. Let's go back out to the phone lines, talk to our guy, Hardcore Raider. It's been a minute. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Q, how you doing, man?
Good.
Hey, I want to say something about the running back position. When was the last time any great running back or any running back had like a great season? I guess it should be the better way to put it. If they were getting hit like by one or two defensive players at the line of scrimmage, or before he even got to the line of scrimmage. Like, can you remember a running back that had a great season when they had those circumstances?
No, and that's why I was encouraged by what Genty did last year, because he was getting hit as soon as the ball was being snapped.
Yeah, dude. Unless it's Bo Jackson and we're playing like Techno Bowl or something, or like it's like a design like double reverse. It ain't happening, dude. Like, so look, I'm not like gonna get on the guy that called in too much, but I just feel like certain teams and certain players, if they're not set up for success, and especially when it comes to running backs, I mean, how can you expect that player or evaluate that player off of maybe like false data, or false, I don't know how to exactly put it into words, but, when you have an offensive line or lack thereof, from the play calling to the leadership, isn't it very well known that there was issues with the offensive line coach and the communication not being clear? where the offensive lineman was like leading the charge kind of thing. So, and I'm just trying to put it nicely too. So anyways, I'm just saying, look, I think Ashton Jeanty is going to be great as long as we get blocking, and any running back, no matter how great or potential they have, if they're getting hit before they even get the line of scrimmage, that is the recipe for not success but disaster, and that's exactly what he got dealt. So I don't think he's a Richardson.
No, not at all.
Who is he comparing him with?
No, he wasn't. He was just saying the numbers, and it was funny because on Twitter it looked like he was saying that they were the same, but he was actually saying, I don't like that the numbers are similar, right? But he even said that he doesn't think he's Trent Richardson-like.
Yeah, so we'll see, man. I mean, I know people are going to bust us up about, Jeanty being a top 10 pick and him not turning out last year, but I mean, there's just facts to the situation, and given the situational circumstances, I don't think it's a fair assessment of him. I think if we get this offensive line figured out, I think he's going to ball out, and I think he's the furthest thing from a Trent Richardson. But that's just me and how I'm feeling. But I appreciate you, brother.
Hey, appreciate you. Yes, sir. Really good call. I'm with you 100%. I think with a competent offensive line, not even a fantastic offensive line, just a competent offensive line, one that actually – can block and you can understand what they're trying to do. And in a scheme that, works for the players that they have, I think that Jeanty's going to be fantastic. I really do. Maybe it's fool's gold. Maybe I'm looking through silver and black glasses. I don't know. I don't sense that. I think that he's going to be great. I really do. And once Bowers got injured last season, they didn't have to double him. They didn't have to worry about, playing him straight up or helping out with them because he wasn't going to be that guy. And they were able to focus more on slowing down Ashton Jeanty because the Raiders didn't have anything else, right? They had Trey Tucker. And that's no disrespect to Trey, but they weren't worried about Trey. Even though he has that speed, they weren't really worried about him. They knew that the other weapon was Ashton Jeanty and that they were going to try to butter their bread by way of the run game. And when they bottled him up, then what? So I'm not worried about it at all. I'm not worried about Jeanty. Not even a little bit. Right? I'm trying to figure out how to say it and to make it so it's so clear. I am not concerned at all. This dude went for 1,300 plus scrimmage yards, and he was working with nothing. Literally nothing. And that's not me slighting the offensive linemen that are here this year that were here last year. It's more on the coaching. The coaching didn't give him a chance. Like you said, set him up for success. The coaching didn't set him up for success at all. And that's why there's not as much turnover at the offensive line as you might think, because the coaching staff actually believes in the players that are there, at least some of the players that are there, to be able to handle their own as long as they have that better coaching. So to me, that is an encouragement. And for Jeanty to have the year he did and get all the yards he got after contact, that was pretty incredible. And he still averaged 3.7 yards per carry. It's not like he was around 2 yards. Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like he was getting hit and then immediately falling down. Over the past few days, I've heard a lot about, his burst wasn't there, or he doesn't really have the straight in speed or the high. And I'm like, man, I didn't see too many people that caught him when they saw the back of his jersey. When people saw Jeanty, when they saw his name on the back of his jersey, how many people caught him from behind and brought him down?
Took about 3 usually.
Right, exactly. So good luck. Good luck. You want to test his speed. Remember they said that back in the day for any of the old school football fans? They said that back in the day about Jerry Rice. Oh, he's not fast. He's not fast. Guess what? When you saw the back of Rice's jersey, you saw that 8-0 and you saw Rice, guess what? He was gone. He weren't catching him. Right? There's one thing about track speed. There's another thing about football speed. Jeanty, I believe, has both if he wants to. So I think he's going to be just fine, and I'm looking forward to this offense led by Brock Bowers, led by Ashton Jeanty, Kirk Cousins, and Fernando Mendoza clearly behind center. So we throw the question out there to you at 702-365-9200. Mendoza signed, sealed, and delivered. So what do you believe it's going to take for him to win the job coming out of training camp? Ari's also got some winning for you right now. What you got?
I sure do. I got a pair of tickets to see the Aviators versus the Tacoma Rainiers. It's coming up on the 8th of August at the LV Ballpark. Tickets available at Ticketmaster or right now with me, 702-365-9200. Caller 9 must be a Nevada resident.
Boom. There it is right there. So we'll hear from you. We'll do football right. We'll do it all next here on RaiderNation Radio 920.
I was going to say, just to put a bow on the short rib conversation, you don't just serve a bunch of raw carrots and potatoes next to the thing. You got to get the rest of the thing cooking, which is like the rest of the team. It's not like the Raiders are a perfect team without the quarterback. They got to get the whole crock pot. And let's not have it take 8 hours, okay? Let's just maybe put it on high setting and get it going a little bit, all right?
Right now, we're doing football right on Unnecessary Roughness. Brought to you by Meineke, doing car care right.
Jamie Erdhall right there. Good Morning Football, talking about the ingredients around Mendoza. That's something that's been talked about quite a bit. That's been my point of emphasis. When Amberthea Harris was pounding the table for Fernando to start day one, what's it going to hurt? What do you have to lose? I said, look, I don't even think it has to do with Fernando. I think it's the pieces around him, right? As much as we've been spending the time today talking about, what do you believe it'll take for him to win the job? I think it's going to have to be everything around him as well. I don't think the Raiders are going to just throw him out there if everything else around him is not is put in the best places possible. It's never going to be perfect. You can go out there 11 guys with nobody on defense, and something ain't going to be perfect, right? And walkthroughs, you know that walkthroughs aren't perfect. There's always something that you have to work on and get better. So it's never going to be just, it's ideal. He's good to go. He's ready. It's not that. It's just you want to put him in at least a better position. You want to set him up for success. You don't want to set him up for failure. That's the biggest thing. So that's why we asked the question here on Unnecessary Roughness, RaiderNation Radio 920. What do you believe it'll take for Fernando Mendoza to win the job coming out of training camp? I think the pieces and the ingredients, as Jamie Erdhall pointed out, around Mendoza are going to have to be right as well. But let us know your thoughts, text line and phone line. Before we get to your calls and texts, I did want to do football right and go and hear from Albert Breer. Albert Breer was on the herd. I'm not a big herd guy. I'm sure not a big Jason McIntyre guy, but he was going back and forth with Albert Breer on Fernando Mendoza, and J-Mac has been very adamant that he thinks Fernando Mendoza should start day one. But here was Albert Breer giving his thoughts on when he thinks that Fernando should get into the mix.
I think honestly, like J-Mac, that depends on the state of the rest of the team. And they've been very methodical in how they've handled him thus far. They had him for about 6 weeks in the spring. And really, if you've followed the way that the Shanahan, McVay, Kubiak, offenses, the way they develop the quarterbacks, the very beginning is detailed, very centered on footwork. Obviously they got a lot of work to get him used to playing under center. And so to this point, it hasn't even been competing for the job. It's been learning. And when they get to training camp next week, then you're going to start to see, okay, can this kid make a bid for the job? But I think a lot of this really rides on what's around him. I look, the numbers that tell you he's going to play at some point this year. I don't think it's going to be right away. And I do think a lot of it has to do with, how comfortable they are supporting him and making sure that they don't affect his confidence by throwing him in there too early. He's got somebody that he can learn from, and Kirk Cousins in front of him. I know you don't like that as much as Mendoza himself playing. But I mean, I think the offensive line is going to be better. Is it going to be great? I think they're still a player or two away from that. The receiver group is a little bit of a mess, and that's something that they've got to work out. They've got one of the best tight ends in football in Brock Bowers. Yeah. They've got a promising young back in Ashton Genty. So I think a lot of the decision-making as far as when they're actually going to put him in the lineup has to do with when it's right for him and when they can put him in a position to play well. And I think early on it's going to be difficult to do that based on the fact that it's a new system, a new coaching staff, and a roster that still needs some help on that side.
Interesting.
Of the ball.
So we can do this game where we mention quarterbacks, whether they sat or started. Can't do Brady. He was a 6th-round pick. But two that jumped to mind, Jared Goff. Do you remember how bad he was with Fisher? I mean,
really bad.
I think it was really 0-7 and unplayed.
But he didn't start right away either.
Right.
He started the 9th or 10th game of that first year.
Yeah, he was terrible. And Eli Manning is the other name that comes to mind. He was getting herky-jerked in and out of the lineup. And those guys, I didn't see them getting affected by it. They bounced back almost.
The flip side would be David Carr, right? Who got his teeth kicked in.
Oh, he got sacked 75 times or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what you have to balance. It's just, it can have an effect on a young quarterback. We've seen the reclamation projects, right? Look at the guy who just won the Super Bowl, Sam Darnold, right? I think the situation he was in with the Jets adversely affected him, and it took him a while to pull himself up off the mat after that. I think Baker Mayfield was in a mess of a situation early on in Cleveland, and it took him a little while to recover from that. So we've seen more recently guys who, had to go through a 2 or 3 year process of coming back from a really rough start in the NFL. And so I think what the Raiders want to do is they want to avoid that. They want to avoid having to go through this process where or maybe he's unloading the ball too fast because the rush was getting to him so quickly when he was a rookie, or he's throwing the ball earlier than he should because, he feels like this receiver can't get to this spot in time. Like there's little things that go into playing the position from a confidence standpoint that I think can be affected when you're playing on a roster that isn't ready to support you. And I think that's the determination the Raiders really have to make over the course of the next 4 or 5 months is, when it does come time to have the discussion, when it does look like Fernando Mendoza is ready to play, they have to have that second conversation, which is the group around him ready to support him in a way where he's going to be able to go out there and play good ball.
There you go. I thought that was a lot of breakdown right there from Albert Breer. I have a lot of respect for him. He was on the herd, and you heard J-Mac going back and forth, and I'm not a big J-Mac guy. I'm not a big herd guy, to tell you the truth. I have a lot of respect for him just because of, the grind and where he started and where he's at. But at the end of the day, I'm definitely not a big J-Mac guy, but I do respect the hell out of Albert Breer, and I think he had a lot of good things to say there when he's talking about, again, the pieces around Fernando Mendoza. It's not just the one guy. Right. But when you could see it and when it reveals itself, it will. So I thought that was some really good breakdowns. And this is a guy that obviously, like Vinny Bonsignore, who joined us earlier, and many others, talks to people that are inside the building. Right. I'm not the guy that's an insider. I'm never going to try to claim to be an insider. Don't want to be an insider. I know how to stay in my lane, but I don't mind asking questions and I don't mind listening when others are talking. And so when Albert Breer has something to say, I'm always all ears because he's coming from somewhere. He's not just, trying to throw something against the wall and hoping that it sticks. So there you go. Albert Breer as part of the herd talking about Fernando Mendoza and his thoughts. That, my friends, is how you do football right.
Doing football right on Unnecessary Roughness. Brought to you by Meineke. Doing car care right.
Remember, we've got Marlon Wayans live in studio coming up at 4 o'clock. We're pretty excited about that with his 54th birthday being today. So we're going to show him some happy birthday love here in studio and talk about everything that he's got coming up. So I'm excited about that. Remember, one of the questions that I threw out there, of course, we've been talking about Fernando Mendoza throughout the course of the show. But once Marlon gets in the building, what is your favorite or who is your favorite character that Marlon Wayans played? Maybe the favorite movie. We'd love to hear that and just share those thoughts with him in studio. I can't tell you how long he's going to be in studio. I'm not going to rush him off. We got some people on our sister stations like, hey, he'll be here at 4. Okay, we'll come by the studio at 4:15. I said, what's he gonna do then? What are you gonna do at 4:15? Do you know who's talking to him? Me, right? I mean, this ain't gonna be no interview. This is gonna be a conversation, right? A couple homies hanging out, just kicking it. That's what this is gonna be. So there's there's no guarantee what's gonna happen. All I know is the show's over at 5. So that's what I do know.
Tough break.
Yeah, exactly. So look forward to that. But we also definitely look forward to hearing from you at 702-365-9200. This one is from Jersey Dave. He said, Ari, I tuned in about 5:35 Eastern time when Vinny B was talking with Q. I probably missed the word of the day. Hopefully you can mention it again. That's Jersey Dave. What's the word, Ari?
It is freedom, Freedom.
That's good. Hey, I'm glad he chimed in with that text, though, because we should give that out 2 or 3 times throughout the course of the show. I get wrapped up in everything that we have going on, and I forget to do it after I do it at the top of the show. So, yeah, freedom is the word. Southern California to theme parks, the adventure parks, all those. That's what the trip is. Or you could take the cash, $3,000. That's the summer of fun, brought to you by Terribles. Mark from Prosper, Texas. This is funny. Mark from Prosper, Texas, but he's got a 925 area code. So he's Bay Area born and bred, it sounds like, but also from Prosper, Texas. He said, hey, Q-Dog, are you really a Q-Dog? Omega Sci-Fi. My friend JT from Walnut Creek, 82 years old, is an OG Q-Dog from Grambling. We are hardcore Raider fans. Bought the OG PSLs in 95 when the Raiders moved back to Oakland. OFMA, Oakland Football Marketing Association. What a disaster. I love the conversations online. O-line will determine the season. That's Mark from Prosper, Texas. No, Mark, I'm definitely not a Q-Dog. I'm not a Omega Sci-Fi. I'm a Keont. I'm a Keon with a Q. So anytime your name starts with a Q, guess what they call you? Q. That will always be your name. Once you you have a name that starts with a Q, it's just that simple. That's who you are. So, never did the whole school thing. I respect that. Not mad at all. I'm sure that was a really good time. I know a lot of Q dogs, as you mentioned. But, no, I am not one of them at all. But thanks for the text. I definitely appreciate you. And, yeah, the offensive line is going to determine a lot when it comes to the Raiders this upcoming season. I think the offensive line is going to have a lot to do with Mendoza and when he gets into action, to be honest with you. Just because, again, you don't want to put him out there behind a line that may be suspect at some stage of the game. But thanks so much for that. I do appreciate it. Got this text from Big Dub Raider. Q. I love Amber's takes and her knowledge of the NFL, but I couldn't disagree with her take this morning more. And I know you have mad respect for Amber, but I might have lost it respectfully listening to that. Those teams picking number one of other years didn't have a quarterback like Kirk ahead of them. Most jobs you have a trainer to show you the ropes before you let free, and even those workers have questions. Go Raiders. So Amber's take was very strong about what do you have to lose. Throw Fernando Mendoza out there. He was drafted number 1 overall. And you're right, Big Dub Raider. I do have a ton of respect for Amber Thea Harris. She is someone I consider a friend and very knowledgeable. Just her opinion, right? And we all have our opinions. I know where she's coming from, especially like in our industry. We don't get better by sitting there just watching someone do radio. We get better by doing radio. But with that being said, and like I said, my biggest key, and I think that was what I was trying to emphasize to her this morning, it's not even necessarily about Fernando. I think it's about everything, the whole product and the whole offensive line, the weapons, the understanding, just everything that they've got cooking. I think it's the whole meat and potatoes of it. Let's just put it like that. But, she wants to see him out there. She thinks he should be out there. And you're right. And this has been one of the things I've been talking about when it comes to options and having Kirk Cousins there. Kirk Cousins is a guy that signed up to be the Raiders quarterback knowing Fernando Mendoza was on the way. It's not like he signed as a free agent and then all of a sudden the Raiders were like, oh, yeah, we're going to go trade up to number 1 and go get this quarterback. And Atlanta did that. Now, they didn't trade. They had the number 8 overall pick. But when you're Kirk Cousins and you sign a big free agent deal, and then the team that you signed that with has the number 8 overall pick, you probably think, great, they're going to go get a weapon for me. Great, they're going to go get offensive linemen to protect me. Great, they're going to do something to make this team better, a defensive player to make the team overall better. And instead, they went out and got his replacement. So he was salty, as he should be, right? It's like, wait, hold on. This wasn't part of the conversation, and that's the difference between Atlanta and the Raiders. He knew the business. He knew what was going to happen. He knew what was down the pipeline once the draft happened, and he chose to come here. So that's why I think that the options, to your point, are really good. And it's unusual that teams that are drafted number 1 overall have those options. You normally don't see that. Big Dub, really, really good text. And, I got all the respect in the world for Amber Thea Harris, as you know, and always will. Thanks so much for the text. Do appreciate you. We'll continue to hear from you next. 702-365-9200. It's RaiderNation Radio 920.
Second down and actually 3. And here's the snap back. And Fernando again looks to throw it. Now he's going deep, way deep. And the catch is made. What a play! Guess who? Charlie Becker again. 36 yards. Indiana scores.
Now back to Unnecessary Roughness with your boy Q. Presented by Meineke, doing car care right.
We're not going to do too much dancing here. We got a very special guest that's going to be in studio in a matter of minutes. Matter of fact, already in the building. So coming up at the top of the hour, Marlon Wayans will be in the building. Looking forward to that. He's got a big show coming up on Friday at the MGM Grand and also coming up on Saturday night. So definitely want to hear from him. Looking forward to that. That'll happen coming up at 4 o'clock. It's RaiderNation Radio 920 Unnecessary Roughness. Let's go ahead and go out to the phone lines real quick. Try to get all these great calls in. Raider Debater in Oakland, you're up first. Welcome to the show.
Q, what's happening with you, man? Always good to hear from you.
Yes, sir. You're the same. Appreciate you.
Let me try to get in real quick and try to get all I want to get out real fast. So to answer your question about Mendoza, man, I really don't think there's anything he can do. I really believe that it's already been set in stone that Kirk Cousins is going to be the starter. He already, when Kubiak was the offensive coordinator for the first time for the Vikings, Kirk Cousins threw for 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Not saying he's going to do that this time, but I believe that he's very comfortable with Kirk Cousins. He knows that Kirk Cousins knows the system, and I believe that's why Kirk Cousins came, because he was told, look, you're going to be starting. You're going to usher in Mendoza, but you're going to be the starter. I believe that it would be more around like how Kirk Cousins plays in the first couple of weeks, because people will be clamoring if we go, which I do see, because I don't see us really starting off and coming out the gate really strong. I can see us going 1-4 or 2-3, and they're clamoring for Kirk Cousins to be benched. And if Kirk Cousins can't get away from the rush, if he's like stone feet, then I could see Mendoza probably starting very early. But I really don't think that he starts this whole season. I could see even after week 14, I could see us being 5-7 and still being in the hunt with Kirk Cousins. So I don't really see Mendoza actually starting this year. It will be up to Kirk Cousins, I believe, and how bad he plays. If he's like a little bit over mediocre, I don't think Mendoza touches the field at all this season. I want more just questions to be answered, or see that questions to be answered coming into the season. One question is, who will be on the other side of Stokes? Who will take that position? I really think that trading Stokes is Nnamdi Asomugha. I think that he will be able to take over, even though nobody's talking about him being that second cornerback, more of the nickel back. I think he should be the second back to Stokes. Another question is, who is Malcolm Kuntz? Like, he's been very disappointing. Even though I know he's coming off an injury, he's the guy I believe is the X factor. If he plays well, I believe the defense will be top 15. If he doesn't, I don't think we do anything on defense, Right. And it's crazy to say with Max being there, but, hey, Max needs a partner. I believe Max Kuntz can be that person. And then thirdly, I want to see if Spytek's vision is going to be a success, because he's showing something that, like, he's doing the same things. Like, he's showing a kind of blueprint of what he likes. He likes athleticism in certain positions. We definitely know, like, in the first position or running back position, athletic score was very high for Mike Washington and Jiggy. We see Mendoza's athletic score was very high. Trey Zoom was actually, his athletic score was number 1. Caleb Rogers, I believe, his athletic score was number 1, both being picked 4th pick, too. So Darren Porter, athletic score high, so he definitely has very much like premium and athletic score for different positions, and it doesn't matter so much with the other kind of like draft picks as they get down the line, 4th, 5th, 6th draft picks, but he has premium and athleticism with particular positions, and I want to see if it comes to fruition, if that is going to be successful moving forward, because we just haven't been able to build as a Raiders team through our draft picks. So I'm looking for that. So that's more of what I'm trying to see as far as questions to be answered once the season starts.
All right, thanks so much for the call. Definitely appreciate you, Raider Debater. Let's get one more quick call, and then we'll wrap up, get into hour number 3, and Marlon Wayans, who is in the building. Let's go out to Sacramento from Town Bennett to Sacramento. Mitch in Sacramento, welcome to the show.
What's happening?
What up?
Man, I forgot I was waiting in queue, bro. I was like listening to this. I was tuned in. That was awesome. Last caller. That was awesome. Anyway, let me get to my thought. What's up, Q? Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So to answer your question with another question, I don't think when Mendoza is going to be ready is the question to ask.
Okay.
I think the question to ask is, when is the team going to be ready? Because if you think about any time somebody drafts a quarterback in the top 5 and you're expecting them to come into a situation where they're going to be the starter, that's not the situation we're in, because we had Kirk before that happened, right? We made those things happen, and all these things happened in a very short amount of time earlier in this year. The thing that stands out to me, and he kind of alluded to it on the previous call with Kirk being the starter, but if the team's not ready, why are we going to throw Mendoza in?
Right.
If the team isn't showing that it can perform in different areas, why are we going to put him in? So the question is, when is the team going to be ready? And in my eyes, the only way we're going to find that out is if Kirk is leading the way. Because a veteran is who you bring in to get your team to where they need to be when it comes to standard, when it comes to expectation and knowledge and certain things. With him having the experience he has with Kubiak, that's his job. He knows that. I'm coming in here to get all these guys caught up and collecting a fat paycheck, and I'm going to start, and then I'm going to head out. That's what's happening this year. That's what I think's happening, and I'm here for it. I mean, but if you're asking me on the real, Mendoza's going to be in there by week 7.
Okay. That'll work. Hey, man, thanks so much for the call. Definitely appreciate you, Raider Debater in Oakland and Mitch in Sacramento. Really good stuff. Keep that feedback coming on the text line. And the feedback that I threw out there earlier, favorite character Marlon Wayans has ever played, movie that he was in. Let us know your thoughts. As I mentioned, he will be in the building. The birthday boy in the building. We'll do that next here on RaiderNation Radio 920.
I haven't understood a word Shaq said in the last 5 years. He just be mumbling. Watch TNT. Every now and then you get the clear name of a player. He be on that show talking about, I want to try to get a good person, Kobe.
But happy birthday to you, my man.
Thank you, man. But you got the budget to buy me stuff. They got me a basket. They got me a balloon creature. I don't know what it is. It's a
cupcake. It's a cup. See, this is
a cupcake.
You are very difficult to get a birthday gift for, and
I'm
this
really
is
not.
why. This is why. This is my dilemma, right? I realized that it was your birthday, and I said I'm not going to let him come in and not celebrate his birthday. So maybe I'll go get him a bottle of drink. And then I realized, wait, hold on, no, he's been doing his thing. He's been taking care of his body for quite a while now.
Oh no, you could have bought that drink. Drinking a cigar. I'm about to have that. Matter of fact, tonight I'm going to be at, where's that place I'm at? I'm at the Limelight. I'm going to be drinking and having me some cigars there. Also, and then Friday night, I'm at a
MGM
show,
Grand?
the MGM Grand.
Yes.
And then an after party at Triple Crown, which is another cigar lounge. And then the next day, I got a performance at the MGM Grand on Saturday.
Yes.
And then after that, I have another cigar event at Tappin' Ash.
Well, the thing is,
because I have a cigar company.
Exactly.
Liga Tridente.
And that's what I was thinking. I was
Yes.
like, okay, I was going to get you a box of cigars, but I know you have your own.
I could still take more Cubans.
But it was kind of weird to give you your own cigars. I wanted to support you, and I was like,
don't give me my own cigars.
Exactly.
Actually, no. If you do get me my own cigars, get me the Bambinos, a box of Bambinos.
Okay.
Those are my favorite.
All right. Well, on Saturday, because we'll be at the show, we got a table right up there in the front.
All right.
So we'll be up there. So Saturday, I'll bring you a box of
All right,
Bambinos.
good.
How about that?
And I hope I'm funny.
You'll be absolutely funny. We've already had people in the building talking about they love your movies. A young man came in and said he loves white chicks. You said, well, I'm happy we corrupted you early.
Happy we corrupted you early. We got that whole generation all messed up.
It was a
But
good,
I corrupt my kids too. I mean,
it's a good thing.
My sense of humor, my family, we laugh everywhere. It's not appropriate, but man, funerals, we love laughing at funerals. When you guys have open caskets, your problem is you look at the open part. That's sad. You want to laugh, go open the other side that's closed and look at what kind of shoes they're trying to bury them in. That's what we get out of.
I better get buried in some good shoes.
Yeah, I don't know. All they show is your top up. It may be naked from the waist down.
No,
and they're taking that suit off you anyway.
I spent a lot of money on the shoes. I better get buried in some good shoes.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
They're taking that off your feet. The groundskeeper is gonna have your shoes on.
So you've been in the game for 50. Well, you're 54 today, I should say. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
But you've been in the game for feels like ever because you and your family.
36 years.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
It flew by too. It just feels like yesterday. But it's not. It's 36 years ago. Well, it was in living color. Let me see. The first thing I ever did, I was 12.
Nice.
Was I'm Gonna Get You Sucker.
Yes.
So, but I wouldn't really say I got into the industry until I was 19. I started professionally when I did 18. When I did my first commercial, and then from there, more money. So 18, I'm 54. That's 36 years. Damn, my math was.
Math was mathing.
Was that mathing, or was
that
or
math
you just
was,
clapping and you don't know?
I look, my math don't math that good, but yours was good. No, yours was good.
That's pretty good.
Yours was on point.
I don't know how I deducted that. To tell you the truth.
Hey man, look, when you know, you know. It's okay. But
I
what is
don't.
this?
I'm asking a young lady, does she know? Do you know? Is that right? Wow. Okay. Wow.
Brandy
Way to bail
gets
out.
put on the spot. Marlon Wayans asked if the math was math, and she said I wasn't paying
Way
attention.
to bail out.
I was getting the content, so I was not paying attention to the math.
So, what has this journey been like, though? I mean, like you said, you have a show on Friday at the MGM Grand. We'll be there Saturday. We'll be there. We're excited about that. But what has this journey been like for you?
I love it. I couldn't see myself doing anything else. It's been love. You know, imagine living your best life, like doing what you love.
Oh, I do it every day.
It's not a problem. Even though I'm tired as hell because I had a party last night and I flew here to do press and I'm working on something to show. But to sit here, I've met some great people. I get celebrated by great people. People love my work. I love what I do. I show up, and I hope I just delivered smiles. When it's all said and done, what did you do for a living? I delivered smiles. That's my angel name. Marlon means deliverer of smiles. Bam! Interview's over.
We can't do that. We can't let the interview be over like that. You can't do that.
Deliverer of smiles has left the building. Boom! Angels is flying away.
That's never good. That, especially when the angels are flying away and you've already talked about a casket, that kind of takes us in a dark spot. We don't want to be that dark.
I was talking about wonderful heaven. I was using it as an analogy.
So we got a text from our guy.
That right.
We got a text from our guy that said, if you could ask Marlon, what was it like to work with Pac in a movie? He's talking about Above the Rim, and I know that you were tight with Pac.
It was a lot of fun. See, the thing about Pac is he gets a bad rap for being like this thug. Pac there was a thug side of him.
Mm-hmm.
Pac was funny, man. Pac was a really funny dude. He was fun, like down to earth. You know, he just liked to laugh and talk nonsense and hang out. And, you know, we had a lot of fun working on Above the Rim because he was a performing arts kid from a hood.
Yeah.
I was a performing arts kid from the hood. Omar Epps was a performing arts high school kid from the hood.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we connected. We ain't had the front on who we was. We just was. We was a bunch of silly brothers that, you know, just so happened to have acting talent.
Right. Acting talent.
But beneath it, we was bad kids.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
nothing, because you turned it into something, obviously.
Thank God, else I'd be a really funny homeless person.
Marlon Wayans in the building here on Raider Nation Radio 920. He's got a show at the MGM Grand coming up on Friday. He's got a show at the MGM Grand on Saturday. Definitely make sure you get your tickets. It's going to be a funny event. As you know, the Wayans Brothers was one of my favorite shows.
Thank you.
Living Color was one of my favorite shows.
Thank you.
Your guys' work with Pops.
The Wayans Brothers, they hated that show when it was on the air. My God, did we get fricasseed. They're going to go, when I'm gone, when I retire, they're going to be like, I don't know what work the critics were watching.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, Marlon Wayans was funny as hell. That's all.
Your family is
boy,
funny as
he
hell.
got some terrible reviews.
But it felt like it was before its time. But even though
Everything
I appreciate
we
it,
do is before its time.
Right.
That's what people don't understand. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't expect people to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you get it late.
Right.
That's why they make it's like the new Scary Movie. A lot of people love it.
Yeah.
And there's some people that hate it. I feel bad for those people that hate it because they should love it because in 10 years it's going to be a classic. And then you hated something and you were wrong and you look back and go, wow, that was really funny how they did all that in one movie. I know it.
How difficult is it to be you and do what you do now and do stand up with the state of how everything is? You know, people always getting offended, upset about something, or do you just let it rip and do you?
I don't give a
Right.
I never did.
Mm-hmm.
I never will. If you're offended, walk out.
Right.
Bye. Let the door hit you with a good Lord split you. I don't care.
Good.
If you're worried about what people think,
Mm-hmm.
you're never going to be funny.
Right.
If you're going to worry about offending people, you're never going to be funny. The only way to be funny is you got to speak from your heart. You got to speak the truth. And you can't want to be liked.
Mm-hmm.
You got to want to be respected.
Right.
And that's by just going out there and blowing their minds. Who cares? I did Shaq impression in Shaq's face. That's because I'm gangster. I ain't scared of no 7'9" dude. Yes, I am.
Is there an impression, is there a character that you played that you really were like, that was it? That was that one character? Because I asked, and there's so many. I got so many texts that are rolling through that loved all these different roles that you played. And is there something that you leaned into? Or has it just been a little bit of
weird.
everything?
I lean into everything.
Right.
So if I can choose a favorite, it's going to be weird. I would say, first and foremost, I think Loc Dog. There's something, because he's just originator, just his ignorance, you know what I mean? I like Loc Dog, and I really love Russell Shabazz, Sex Tuppence. He's one of my favorites. This is a movie that I don't know if you saw it, but he's a heavy set guy, Russell, and eats a lot of cereal. You know it's me if you've seen it, but I really love doing Russell, because Russell sounds just like Steve. Steve is my friend that's here, and if you ever listen to Steve, this is exactly the way he sounds. And so, I just enjoy doing them all. Papi, coming like this, and you go, ay, cuánta la mela. At the end of the day, I'm just a crazy person.
Right.
Yeah.
As you should be. As we are rolling out of the store with that incredibly huge cupcake. They said, whose birthday is it? And I said, Marlon Wayans. They said, oh, can you ask him about this? I mean, immediately. That's the kind of reaction. So that's the way that
that's good.
Everything you've done has resonated with people.
It's better than tell that nigga F him.
keeping us legal around here.
I was good. I said F him, and I was like, wait, I just said the N-word.
It happens.
I just dropped that bomb.
It happens.
I'm going to get this Raiders show canceled.
Who I know you're a Steeler fan.
Steelers.
What do you think about the Steelers this year? Do you have any thoughts on them early in the process? Aaron Rodgers, is that your guy?
I think I love Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a G. I think football's a young man's game.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's a young man's game, and I think he's an incredible quarterback, a great mind, and I hope they're we're nurturing a great talent underneath him.
Right.
I'm mad we got rid of Justin
Fields.
Yeah,
I didn't think he had it. It just didn't look like he had it.
Where's he at now?
Is Kansas City backup?
I think he would have been. You had to groom him. I think him working under Aaron Rodgers would have been great.
That could have worked. That could have worked.
Look at you hating on that young man.
Look, he's had a lot. What'd you say? It's a young man's game. He's had some years. I mean, he was in Chicago. He was in Pittsburgh. He was in New York.
Yeah, but he hasn't had years where he got beat down. You know what I mean? Like, football is he ain't played enough to get beat down.
Yeah,
I'm talking about
Chicago was tough.
Yeah, but he didn't get beat down.
He didn't do good.
He didn't do great.
I got this question on the text line.
What's your team?
The Raiders.
You're lying.
No, I'm not.
Nobody like the Raiders.
From Oakland, California.
Oh, man, you definitely don't like them. Y'all still mad, butthurt that they left Oakland.
That's a whole nother conversation.
I went to a Raiders game.
Okay.
In Oakland.
Okay. Coliseum, represent.
Never again.
What happened?
I felt like I was in Mad Max Beyond the Terror Zone. I am black, and I got to say, get ready.
He hit it.
Gotcha.
One dude had a gorilla mask on.
Yes, Gorilla Rilla.
Oh, he's a staple.
Yeah, Gorilla Rilla, the Violator. He had the shoulder pads on, and
they were beating Tampa Bay fans up. I was like, I got to get out of here.
Oh yeah,
they made me feel white. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I have to go over here to the parking area.
We one time in the parking lot, they were playing the Seahawks. I'll tell you this real story. The porta potty line. We're standing in line. Seahawk fan walks up in a Ricky Waters jersey. Hey, man, why don't you go ahead and go to the front of the line? He walked up to the front of the line, got into the porta potty. You know that was a bad decision. We pushed that bad boy over while he was in there, and that Ricky Waters jersey never looked the same again.
You see what I'm saying? That's just ignorance.
I was younger.
I was
younger.
Plain old ignorance. I never trusted the Raiders. I didn't. Not just the fans, but I don't trust your owner's hair. There's just something about a man with a Pippi Longstocking bang. It just makes me feel weird.
He's comfortable in his own skin. And his hair.
That hair don't bother you?
It don't bother me. It ain't mine. I go get my hair cut every Saturday. I'm straight. You'll see on Saturday.
See, you're not a friend. You're not a real friend. A real friend would sit down with the owner and go, look, my whole radio program is about this whole organization.
Right.
I need you to get a fade right now.
Mark Davis with a fade. I'll take him over to my barbershop on Saturday with me.
If you do that, I'll become a Raider fan.
All right, there, bet, right? Hey, look, someone get this over to Mark Davis. I'll take him to the barbershop with me. We'll get a fade.
Very nice guy. I met him.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy. Protected me from all the, you want to hit that button again? All them niggas.
Dang. That's when it's real. That's
with a black man using the ER.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We got this other text. Can Marlon still hit those dance moves from white chicks?
Yes, I can.
Nice.
I'm not going to do it.
I heard that.
But yes, I can. I may break something.
No, we don't want you to do that. We don't want you to do that. I want to ask you what it was like working with Pops. John Witherspoon.
He was the best, man.
R.I.P. He was fantastic.
He was so funny. Just off the cuff funny. We used to love hanging out with him. We'd go to lunch with him, and he would order, first time we went to lunch, he ordered 2 whole chickens. And me and Sean was like, oh, it's cool. He's treating us to lunch. And this man proceeded to eat both those chickens by himself and the marrow. And we were like, oh, my.
Oh, he one of those G's.
He's old school. No vegetables, just chicken.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's why you're
Is there a role that you haven't played that you want to play? Is there something that's still on the Marlon Wayans bucket list? I got to do this.
I'd love to play Richard Pryor. That's on my bucket list for a drama about a comedian. I think I'm ready for it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That really would. And, I mean, coming from your family, I wouldn't doubt that someone's thinking about that right now, working on that maybe right now. Is that something that we're thinking about? Are you working on that?
Absolutely not.
Why not? I think you'd be great
because it's too much trying to get the rights and trying to work. I would love to. If God makes it happen, God's going to make it happen. Until then, I think it's one of those stories that need to be told, but I don't have the rights, and I can't make those choices. But I would say that's a story that the world should see.
Speaking of stories, and I don't mean to bounce around, just got this text. Q, that was you. I remember being a kid and some guys knocked over the porta potty with a Seahawk fan in it. Like that is no BS. Like, I'm not making this stuff up. I can't make this up. That was the top text.
And he was a part of this whole melee.
Absolutely. I mean, look, man, we rocked it at the Coliseum, man. That was our Mecca.
And that is why they left and came to Vegas. They will not be knocking parties over in this part of town.
Hey, look, the porta potties aren't. They're nice here. They're nice here. We had in Oakland. We had the
green machine.
We had.
That's the one you gotta. You gotta hold your breath before you go in there.
Exactly.
They smell all kind of Frankfurter and feces.
So what is Raider Nation or anyone else who's showing up to your show at the MGM Grand? What should they expect from you?
Expect the unexpected. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. I'm shifting between two different sets, so I'll figure out which one I want to do.
Okay.
And then sometimes I always try to wing something, have fun. I like to be in the moment.
Okay.
So, expect to have fun. It's a great show. Either show I choose is going to be a great show.
What do we've talked to comedians before in studio, and we've talked about when they start picking people out from the audience and say, start pointing them out and maybe start heckling them a little bit. How do you work with someone in the audience? And my example was me and the wife went to a show, and this comedian asked, does anyone have a personalized license plate? And my smart ass said, no, that's how you get caught up. And he said, oh, Q sells drugs. And so throughout the rest of the show, every time he referenced drugs, he's like, and anybody needs them, see Q after the show.
Q sells drugs. No, I try to leave the audience alone.
Okay.
I like to do a show. Right?
Okay. You don't need our help.
It's too easy to pick on the audience. Roasting is what I do. I could do that. Just look at 300 1,000 people, and I could find some jokes.
Yeah.
Ask you some questions, but I prefer to talk about me. I got a lot of issues and a lot of things that I'm battling, and I'd rather talk about me because I think that's the most relevant thing to an audience member is you talking about yourself.
Right.
And your pain. Everybody got pain. How do you get through it? Jokes.
I love it. It's a great breakdown. Again, Marlon Wayans is here in studio with us. And, I mean, just coming from the family that you did, I mean, just how blessed are you to have that kind of talent around you and growing up in it to being where you are right now?
Can you hit that button again? You want one? I'm giving Wayans away.
I heard
Which one
that.
you want? You want Damon? I'm tired of Damon. Take him. Free.
That is too funny.
You ain't got to pay for it.
That is too
Damon
funny.
Free.
I mentioned
if you take Damon now, I will throw in Keenan for a low price of $1.50.
That is too funny. That is too funny. But I mean, it's great to have them. It's great to have your family.
They were great big brothers.
Yeah.
And, I couldn't be more lucky as a kid to have had Keenan and Damon as my big brothers.
What was that like though at the house? What was that?
We had a fun house. We just laughed a lot.
Everybody's talented and funny.
We just all laughed, always cracking jokes. Me and Sean used to do sketches and characters for Keenan and Damon when they came home. It was a lot of fun. My household was a lot of fun. My mother had this big laugh and these fat arms and black elbows. And when you made her laugh, her elbows were hee. And, we just had a good time.
Yeah, as you're supposed to.
Yes, sir.
As you're supposed to. Well, we definitely appreciate you being here, man. Like I said, I look forward to the show. MGM Grand, Friday night, Saturday night. Like I said, I already got a table.
All
so
right,
unfortunately, you're going to have to see me again up in the front row.
I hope I'm funny.
I'm glad you ain't going to mess with me, though. He's like,
no, because you sell drugs. I I don't.
I don't sell drugs. I just know that you don't put your name on your license plate.
Nobody has hair that
You don't
that
put.
cool, that Diddy hair, unless you sell drugs. You either sell drugs or do drugs.
I don't do drugs either. I don't do drugs. Don't
smells
sell
like
them.
drugs in here.
But I do get the
like
fade.
cocaine in here.
I get the clean fade every Saturday. Got to do that.
Well, make sure you take Art with you.
I'm gonna take Ari. Yeah, I'm gonna try to bring Tim to this show too. He needs a lady.
No, I'm talking about the owner.
Oh,
of
you
the
talking
Raiders.
about Mark?
Yeah, bring Mark with you.
Okay, I'll get Mark Davis to go and get a fade with me. I'll bring Ari, who's looking for a lady. So hopefully there's some single ladies that come
Are
out
you
to the show.
You by yourself?
Yes.
You in Vegas,
This is
man.
dangerous
If
right
you
here
don't
with the
take your
comedian.
ass to a strip club. There are a lot of young ladies that want to get off that pole. Go
Fair. Good answer.
I just found you a wife.
He gets so uncomfortable with that conversation.
Why?
Well, he's good at roasting people. I don't know if I want to
not
talk about
roasting
me.
you, he's helping you find a lady.
He could very well, so I'm gonna back out of this conversation.
I'm gonna leave you alone. You sound very sensitive, sir.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
He gets nervous. We have full moments on him and his dating life and how it's non-existent.
Well, stop picking on him.
I'm not picking on him.
Thank you,
I'm trying to assist him. I'm trying to get the Jason Kidd on.
Maybe he just. He know how to do
Dumb.
it. Maybe he ain't found the right hand, the right temperature hand.
See, this is what I was talking about.
Right. I didn't know it was gonna go there, Ari. Sorry.
All good.
That is that. Yeah, he did. He was already ready. Yep. That is hilarious. Someone said, "What NFL team does he support and why?" He's a Steeler fan. He's a Steeler fan. We already went there, so there you go. All right, one more for you. Alan said, "Marlon, if you can give anyone a piece of advice, what would it be?"
Life is short. Make sure you surround yourself with people that are like-minded and challenge you spiritually to connect. And make sure you do what you love for a living, because this way you're not working a day in your life. You're just going to have fun.
I agree with that 100%. I say it every day. I'm blessed to do what I do.
Yeah.
I love it.
Because you could talk. My mouth dry. I got more questions than
I got
somebody else
another
has
3-hour show coming up later. I'm good. I got it all. I'm
you're
ready.
Crazy, man. You must go home and say nothing to your wife.
Well, see, here's me talking
you
on the
ain't
radio
got
all day.
nothing else to say.
No, she hears me talking all day. She actually put this basket together for you.
Man,
she did.
She's a good lady. Mom, that's very nice of her. You better you stroke her one time for me tonight.
Will do.
See, and this is from Marlon.
I'm sure that'll go over well.
And start singing, we're brothers, we're happy and we're singing and we're color. Give me a high five.
Enough said. Enough said right there. Marlon Wayans, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and give him a round of applause. Thank you so much. He will be at the MGM Grand on Friday night. He'll be there on Saturday night as well. Get your tickets.
And tonight I will be at Limelight smoking cigars and drinking and hanging out and eating some great food. Saturday I'm going to be at the Crown, the Triple Crown, and smoke cigars with my Liga Tridentes. And then Saturday, if you smoke cigars, come on out, smoke tap and ash. But I'll be smoking cigars there. But if you really want to have a good time, come to the shows at the MGM Grand Friday and Saturday.
And he's
my
got his
birthday.
own,
we can pull up.
Got his own cigars as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Bambinos. I'm bringing the box.
All right.
As long as they let me in the building with them, I'm going to bring a box of Bambinos to the show.
Bet. And I'm going to smoke them by the time I leave.
There you go. There you go. Marlon Wayans in studio with us here on RaiderNation Radio 920.
You ever see a pretty baby in the street and you stop and you're like, oh my God, he's so cute. Yeah. And then they would see me. And you ever see an ugly baby in the street? What would they say? And you won't call the baby ugly, but you ain't gonna call him cute. Use other. Look at that thing. Oh, no. Look at little what's-a-ma-call-it. What's-a-ma-call-it? It's funny, they would never call you cute. They use other words to describe them, like, oh, he's so alert. He has so much energy.
You're listening to Unnecessary Roughness with your boy Q. Brought to you by Meineke, doing car care right.
Good stuff. Good stuff. On the way back, we come in. Marlon Wayans talking about the ugly baby and what they say about the ugly baby. Don't, not cute. No, I like he said, oh, he's alert. He's so alert. That is funny. Many thanks to Marlon, who spent some great quality time with us here in studio, talking about his show, just talking about his career, his life and times, obviously being a Wayan. And that's a very talented family. And he will be at the MGM Grand on Friday and Saturday night. And so definitely appreciate him making the effort to come on down here and hang out with us when he easily could have just phoned it in or not showed up and just said, here, give out some tickets, promote the show, and we're done. But he came out and promoted it himself, and we do appreciate that. It's Raider Nation Radio 920, Unnecessary Roughness. Of course, we want to hear from you, 702-365-9200. Got a ton of texts on their text line we'll get to, and we do appreciate it. But let's go out and go to the phone lines to a very, very patient H in Albuquerque. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind, my man?
Hey, what's up, Q? Hey, a few years ago when we signed Minshew, there was heavy debate over who would start, him or O'Connell. And I called in and I said I was more worried about the offensive line rather than who would start at quarterback, because I knew neither one of them were going to play well without good offensive line play. And, fast forward to today, we have a 37-year-old journeyman quarterback, we have a slow-footed O'Connell, and then we have a rookie. None of those guys are going to play well if the offensive line is not playing well. And the reality is we've had a bad offensive line for about a decade now. So, they brought a lot of new guys in, but like the previous caller said, we've got to make sure the team is ready. And I feel like if we put Mendoza in too early, we risk developing some bad habits. Derek Carr got a lot of flack for checking down a lot. But what was he supposed to do? The offensive line was horrible. And when he did play well, he had good protection. We want Mendoza to play well, or Cousins to play well, or whoever's under center. He's got to have confidence in his protection when he breaks the huddle. And the way he gets the confidence is sustained good play from the line.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, man, thanks so much. Appreciate you being patient. And, yeah, again, that offensive line, it all goes back to the trenches, right? How many times have we talked about that? And, again, we threw the question out there before Marlon came in studio. We threw the question out there now that Fernando Mendoza is signed, sealed, and delivered out there. As the rookies reported for camp today. Max Crosby reported for camp. Jackson Powers-Johnson reported for camp. There was a handful of guys that actually reported for camp today. But now that he's there, what will it take? What do you believe it'll take for him to actually go and win the starting job? And that's why we threw it out there at 702-365-9200. But it does feel like, similar to what H is saying, all roads lead back to the offensive line, right? It's not necessarily about him. It's about what's around him. Sean said, some of these takes are awful. What quarterback started when the team was ready? Matter of fact, what top-round pick quarterback started only because the team was ready for him? Get out of here with the pigs are flying scenarios. Are you ready? If yes, let's go then. If you are who you think we are, you'll make this team better. Were the Bengals ready for Burrow? No, he picked him up and got him rolling. Give me a break. If he's him, it will not matter. That's Sean right there from the 916. Appreciate that text. And, again, I understand exactly where you're coming from. I do. I also think that there's something to be said, and I could be wrong. I think there's something to be said about having options and not having to put him out there right away. Joe Burrow, there was no options. Joe Burrow had to be put out there right away. They didn't have anything. They didn't have anyone that could play the role. Cam Ward last year had to be put out there, right? The Tennessee Titans weren't going to roll someone else out there like that. They just couldn't. Think about this. If Gardner Minshew was in camp and not a Kirk Cousins, then I could see saying, oh, there's no options, right? It's Gardner Minshew or Fernando Mendoza. Yeah, I'm rolling the dice with Fernando Mendoza. But there is an actual option. There is an actual option of who's in the building that can help out, even if it's only a game or two. And that's me just talking about the other side of the conversation, because we don't know. We'll see training camp start next week, and we'll see exactly how it all looks and how it all shakes out. And who knows? By the time week one comes around, and they're at Allegiant Stadium, and the Miami Dolphins are rolling in, he very well could be under center. He could be that guy. But I never think it's a bad thing to have options. It's like going to your closet and going and getting some shoes. It's great if you have a nice pair of shoes. It's great if you have multiple pairs of shoes that you could choose from, right? So one, you don't wear one pair out, right? Like, hey man, I got this pair of black shoes that would go. I got this pair of white shoes that would go. Hey, I got a couple options. Options to me are never a bad thing. But that's just me. But I understand completely, Sean. I love your feedback all the time. You know that. And I think that was a really, really good text. So thanks so much. And that's why I open it up to you at 702-365-9200. Let's go out to the phone lines. Let's talk to the Mac. The Mac from way, way, way back. Raider Mac, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
What's up, Q, man? That was a funny segment, man. And y'all can't hook up Ari with anybody at that show. Don't do it. Don't do it, Ari, man. Get your own girl. Get your own girl. Don't let them do it. Especially Marlon Wayans. You're going to have some deep pockets because he's going to try to hook you up with somebody, one of them stars or something. No, don't do it, Ari. We'll hook you up. If you come to L.A., you got that.
All right,
Hey,
Mac.
Q, what I'm calling about, man, I appreciate y'all show. I thank you guys all the time, man, because I'm just listening to all this verbiage all over ESPN and all these other places. Man, they don't have no confidence in Fernando Mendoza. But I'm gonna tell you right now, Q. You know I've been calling for a franchise quarterback from the beginning, and the roster has been updated. So I don't know why are we thinking that this dude's gonna sit on the bench behind Cousins. The last time we played him, what did he do? I think he was like 2 for 30. He was horrible in that game. He has not gotten any better. Start the kid. If we lose, we lose. But at least we got our franchise quarterback out there. And all those people that say, oh, kid need to sit, look at Mahomes. But look, then you can look at the opposite.
Right.
Look at the different quarterbacks that played right away. Jaden Daniels played right away.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Williams. You got to play the kid, man. The kid can play. I'm telling you, I'm just saying that we got to play him, and roll the dice. If you're going to lose, you need to find out early. Because the next draft, because you got to keep going for a quarterback till you get the franchise. If he's not the guy, so be it. But if you don't let him, the offensive line has improved, but if you don't let him start, to me, even though he comes in game 8, now you got to wait another season to see if he's really good, because now he's finished. But Q, man, I just think we got to play this kid, man. I like everything, man. I like all how he talks and just his demeanor, man. It's just great, man, to have somebody under center like that. So he gonna make mistakes as a rookie, but that's okay. I'd rather lose with him than lose with Cousins.
Well,
at the end of the day, you're gonna have to bring Mendoza in either way. So starting, because I'm gonna be there at that first game, and I need to see my dude. And if he doesn't come in or he don't start, that's fine. But at the same time, give yourself the best chance to win. You got two different guys, but I just don't think. I think Mendoza gonna beat him out. You heard that from me. I think Mendoza gonna beat him out because he's just a better quarterback. That's just me. I'll let you guys go, man. I appreciate y'all. Thanks, Ari. And don't let them hook you up with no girl, man. Get your own.
If you say so, Mac. Use Mac.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. From the Mac,
right?
I'm telling you, get your own girl. Get your own girl, man. Don't let them hook you up.
They don't call him Mac for
y'all
nothing.
Take care, man. Appreciate y'all.
All right, my man. Great stuff. Raider Mac right there. And, hey, you never know what direction you can go if Marlon Wayans is hooking you up with a girl, Ari. Just saying. You never know.
Hey, I think that'd be a great thing. Just saying.
Okay, well,
deep pockets or not. If I go on a double date or something.
Well, look, there it is.
I'm not paying.
Look, there it is. I didn't say he said he was going to roll with y'all. He might pick something. He might pick out. It's funny. Ducks have been the theme. He might pick out a mud duck out of the audience.
Anyway,
Ducks have been the theme for the show today. He might pick out a mud duck.
It's a great way for me to segue to just chime in. H just called me back and wondered about his voice. His voice that is not his voice. Apparently something in the system happened, so he just wanted to let us know he's not on helium or.
Okay.
There you go.
All good.
Shout out to H.
Hey, no worries. I wasn't worried about it. I wasn't worried about it. H is good with me, man. I'm all good with that, right? Anyone who goes by an initial, I'm not mad at all. Andre said the O-line got to be right before Mendoza plays. If that's game 1, 5, if it's year 2, fine. So Andre's got a big window, right? It could be game 1 or it could be year 2. And I don't, for the life of me, I do not believe it'll be anything close to year 2. I initially said I thought the bye week was going to be the natural transition, but that's not even until week 14, right? The bye is week 13, so he wouldn't get on the field till week 14. I don't see, just in my mind, I'm not a coach, obviously, but I don't see how they can keep him on the sideline that long. I just don't see that. But again, that's just me. So thanks so much for the text. I definitely appreciate you. Poncho P hit us on the text line. Q, are you or are you not kissing a duck? If so, we got to live stream it. Also, what was the ceiling point to Fernando's contract? Did the Raiders give up and pay the guarantee straight up? That's Pancho P. And no, Pancho, I don't have to kiss a duck because the contract is signed, sealed, and delivered. He is in camp. And so, yeah, I said that the contract was going to get signed by training camp. And if not, I'd do like my late great-grandmother said, I'd kiss a duck. Well, contract got done today. So no ducks being kissed in my future. But I love the fact that so many people latched onto that. I got so many texts. I got so many tweets. I got so much feedback about Q. I even had one guy that, AI generated the picture of me literally in Bristol. No joke. In Bristol with a duck, like in front of the ESPN sign with me really kissing a duck. Like that took some effort. You know what I mean? Like, matter of fact, there it is right there. Look at that. Look at that. Literally, it's me literally holding a duck and kissing a duck in front of the ESPN sign in Bristol.
That is
like
hilarious.
You had to go out of your way to make that.
It's a lot of effort.
That's what I'm saying. I also, speaking of a lot of effort real quick, and then we'll go out to the phone lines. Lil Al Davis, Marlon said that he'll become a Raider fan if Mark gets a fade. Well, Lil Al Davis, he tweeted a picture of what Mark Davis would look like with a fade. It's a pretty good looking fade right there. I'm just saying. Hey, look, Mark's a man of the people. So he might just say, you know what, Q, take me to your barbershop. I'll get a fade, and then Marlon Wayans is going to be a Raider fan. There you go, just like that. It's actually a pretty good picture. That's also really good work. We have some very creative and very, I don't know, man. I guess creative is the best word. But, yeah, Lil Al Davis on Twitter hit us up. He even hit Marlon Wayans with it. That's funny. And hit you up, too, Ari. So he said, great interview, #fade. So there you go. Good stuff, as always. Let's go out to the phone lines. Let's go out to the north. Haven't talked to my man Vince in a minute. Vince in Northtown. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Q, what's going on, man? Long time no see. How you been?
Man, I'm good, man. How about you?
Man, I'm doing good. First and foremost, fantastic interview with Marlon Wayans, man. Growing up as a kid, like the Wayans brothers was so cool. Like, it was so funny. He got so many. His whole family is dope. I was hoping y'all was going to bring up The Sixth Man. Growing up, I used to watch that movie all the time. I think that's a sleeper classic, man. That one don't get talked about. I think that one's hilarious. And he even got a little bit unhinged, but, hey, man, you kept the ship steady, man. I salute to you, bro.
Hey, that's what we got to do, man. We got to have fun around here, but we got to keep the thing moving.
Yeah. As far as the Mendoza thing, man, honestly, I'm going to just listen to the professionals. I mean, you see Brady. We have Brady in our corner, and his whole thing is, like, his problem right now is, like, these guys don't get a chance to sit down and actually watch, study, and adapt. I think, look, I want to see Mendoza out there with the rest of them, like what everybody else wants, but I think he needs to just sit down. We need to listen to the professionals and the ones that done it, and, how are we going to go against Brady's vision? Brady, he knows better than all of us. He's been there. He's been done that. He's had time. He's a product of studying under Drew Bledsoe, getting that time. So when it was his turn, it's going to be Mendoza's turn. I think everybody needs to chill out and, let him soak up as much game, as much knowledge. I mean, Kirk is going to, he's going to give him so much game. I mean, he's a perfect guy to learn under, and that's like me when I go to the barbershop and I let the OGs talk. I'm just soaking up game. It's the same thing with Mendoza. I mean, but I will ask you this, Q, and I'll let you go. With preseason coming up, are we going to see Mendoza in action? Or are we just going to let Kirk run the show and get, test the waters?
Yeah, hey, really good call, Vince. It's great to hear from you, my man. Definitely appreciate you. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of Mendoza in preseason, to be honest with you. I think we're going to see a lot more Mendoza than we'll see Kirk Cousins in preseason. I think you'll see Fernando Mendoza and Aiden O'Connell a lot in preseason. You'll see their fourth quarterback as well, Jacob Clark. Sorry, I didn't mean to forget and blank on his name, the undrafted free agent. But I think you'll see a rotation of those three guys. I don't think you'll see much of Kirk Cousins. You'll see enough of him just to get his feet wet. Probably a little bit in game number 2 against Houston. and that'll probably be it, right? And then it'll be Mendoza and Aiden O'Connell and Jacob Clark as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, we'll get our first look. And that's why, in my opinion, that's why ESPN wanted to make sure that they had the rights to that Houston Texans game, because they're anticipating Mendoza playing quite a bit as well, man. Really good stuff. We'll go back to the phone lines when we come back and close things out at 702-365-9200. I see you, Slow Jam James. You'll be the first one up. We'll do it next here on RaiderNation Radio 920.
Now back to Unnecessary Roughness with your boy Q. Presented by Meineke, doing car care right.
Just got a couple minutes left in today's show, man. It's been fun. Literally. Vinny Bonsignore joined us in the first hour, Bill Barnwell in the second. And then we have Marlon Wayans, the great Marlon Wayans, in studio at the top of the hour at 4 o'clock. Hung out with us for almost about 30 minutes. No BS. You want to talk about guys that work. He's still working. Our sister station, ESPN Las Vegas, Willie Ramirez caught him and is doing a few minutes with him. And, again, I really respect that. It takes me back to my hip-hop roots when I was starting the radio, when the artists used to come to the radio station. And the artists used to bring their music and say, hey, man, here's my new song. Hey, man, what do you think of my new song? Hey, what is the audience? Hey, play it. And we used to sit in the studio and we talk, we chop it up, we play the song. If it was good, be like, that's pretty, let me run it back. And we'd run it back again and have people call in and chime in on it. Artists don't do that anymore, man. We get, MP3 sent to us. Hey, I'm going to send you so-and-so's new track. Record reps don't, I don't know I don't do music anymore, but I don't know the last time I saw a record rep. Couldn't tell you. I know record calls happen, but they're just calls. Oh, hey, I'm gonna play this for you, or I'm gonna play this for you. What do you think? That's work. What Marlon Wayans was doing, coming in here to promote his show, promote what he's got going on, talk about his life. That's old school grinding right there, and that's why there's no surprise a family like the Wayans is so successful, because they don't mind putting in the work. 702-365-9200. It's RaiderNation Radio 920. Slow Jam James, he doesn't mind putting in the work here on RaiderNation Radio 920. Slow Jam, what's on your mind, brother?
Doing all right. What's good?
I always gotta wait for the Q. How you doing? Great, man. How are you, brother? It's good to hear from you.
Speaking of songs and stuff, if any of the ladies are listening and they got a song they want to dedicate to Ari, be sure to hit me up at Slow Jam James, and we'll try and get that out there for him.
Yes. Let's go.
Wow. I love it. That was fantastic. That's great. That's worth the price of admission right there.
But on this Fernando Mendoza thing, I love this topic because the great thing that we've got right now is that the Raiders have options. And because they've got options, they don't have to rush him out there. And just like with anybody else on the roster, the coaching staff has said from day one that players have to earn it. Fernando Mendoza, when he came in, he didn't say, I'm the number one overall draft pick, I'm here to start. He said himself that he needs to start from the bottom and work himself up. So even he knows he's got to put the work in. The good thing about Fernando is if he has the acumen and he can grasp working under the huddle, if he can grasp working under center, if he can grasp trying to read defenses as best that he can, even as a rookie, he's going to make mistakes. But the thing about Fernando is he's got it upstairs, and he's not going to make the same mistakes over and over and over again. So he will learn. But as long as he's got the acumen to play in the NFL under center, then I'm good with throwing him out there and letting him play, regardless of who's out there as far as the offensive line, the skill positions, because he'll learn and he'll get better. But I do like what the texter said a while back about getting into bad habits about, checking down and all this other stuff. But I think with Fernando Mendoza, we don't have to worry about that too much. So I'm good with him being out there ready to play, but only when Fernando Mendoza believes he's ready for NFL play, and if the coaching staff believes that he's ready for NFL play.
There it is. Hey, great call, man. Slow Jam James, it's always great to hear from you. And it's almost football time when we're hearing from Slow Jams. And look, I agree with what he had to say. If there's any ladies that want to dedicate a song out there to Ari, feel free to hit Slow Jam James up, and he'll make that happen for you in his Slow Jam voice. Turn off the lights. I love it. I love it. Really good stuff, man. Really good call. Scott hit us. If Cousins, an old and gimpy dude, goes down in preseason, then who starts game 1? It's not out there. I'm on O'Connell with Fernando starting week 4 for his Chiefs. That's Scott's or Kanapali Raider. There you go. I had to break that down. You like that, huh? Ari was wondering. He was like, how are you going to say that?
Impressive with the
hey,
break
man,
in the
look,
words.
Just came back from the islands, brother. Brother, I just came back from the islands, man. I know what the double A looks like. I know how to say the double A. I had my man Brandon give me the explanation of how you say double A and O and all that. I learned that. That's what happens when you go on tours, man. Got to go on tours. Let's see. Al said, Q, old-ass Raider. I don't know. You may have to kiss the duck. What time did practice start? When did Mendoza sign? Was it before or after training camp started? I'm just saying. No, actually, old-ass Raider, and it's a good point. Training camp doesn't officially start till next week. The rookies reported today, but next week is actually when training camp starts. And we'll meet with Clint Kubiak. Clint Kubiak will open up training camp. And we meet with him on the 28th, and then we're out there for the first day of practice on the 29th. So I got a couple days. I'm smooth sailing. I'm good. With that being said, I cannot tell you enough how impressed I am that a saying that my grandmother used to use way back in the day is a saying that we spent all day talking about on the show in 2026. That's incredible. Man, who would have thunk it? Not this guy. Hey, don't forget, if you're in and around town tomorrow, this fine program will come to you live from one of my favorite places. That's the Golden Circle Sportsbook inside of TI, Treasure Island. So we encourage you to come on down, hang out with us. I don't know what kind of prizes we'll have. We'll find some. I'm going to raid the prize closet a little something, but we'll be out there. Parking is free. Kiosks are great. The gaming is great. The happy hour specials. Everything is Friday. Kick off your weekend the right way, so come hang out with us. Golden Circle Sportsbook inside of TI. We'll be there 2 to 5 p.m. Tomorrow, and like I said, we'll send you into the weekend the right way. Many thanks to Vinny, many thanks to Bill, and Marlon Wayans, of course, for doing his work here in studio. And go check him out if you're looking for a show Friday night, Saturday night at the MGM Grand. It is Raider Nation Radio 920. Have a great night.